Yeah, it's case number 417 on the calendar in the matter of Sheindlin versus Barone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Sheindlin, Mr. Barone came to live with you. He was a friend of yours. According to your complaint, Mr. Barone had you falsely arrested for both assault, and he told the police that you were growing a controlled substance in your backyard, which you say was not true. It was actually Mr. Barone who was growing this controlled substance, and the altercation that resulted in the police being called had to do with your discovery of that. Mr. Barone says that you did, in fact, assault him. You were, in fact, growing a controlled substance in the backyard, so he did not falsely report criminal activity because everything that he said was true. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ever been arrested, Mr. Barone?
Yes.
You want to tell me when you were arrested?
I was arrested for possession of paraphernalia a while ago.
What kind of paraphernalia, Mr. Barone?
I think it was, blunt guts. Do you know what that is?
You're going to tell me.
Okay. If you take a cigar, you cut it down the middle, the stuff
And then
that's
what do you
inside.
put inside?
Whatever you want to put inside, ma'am.
What did you put inside?
Some weed.
Some marijuana.
Yeah.
And in what year was this arrest? Before you give me an I want you to try to think very carefully. In what year was that
I have
arrest?
no idea, to tell you the truth. I mean, it was so long ago.
It can't be so long ago, sir, because you're only 26.
Yeah. Well, I would say probably 3-4 years ago.
And since then?
I've been good. Oh, I had a DUI. First and last, I promise.
Ever been arrested, Mr. Sheindlin?
Yes, Your Honor.
For what?
I have been arrested for burglary and assault.
When?
The assault charge, I believe it was 2001.
And the burglary?
The burglary charge took place in 2003.
Ever arrested for any crimes involving drugs?
I have been.
Go ahead.
Paraphernalia charge.
When?
It was with Mr. Barone in 2001, also on August 2nd. For
case?
For this matter, yes.
Why, did you think that this was going to be easy, Mr. Barone?
No, of course not.
If you did, it was a big mistake.
I love you. You're the best.
You're right.
Being honest.
You're right. Get in line. There's a long line.
I know, I can tell.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Long one.
I believe it.
Now, Mr. Sheindlin, when did Mr. Barone move in with you?
He moved in the end of May.
And when is it that you allege that you found these marijuana plants growing in your backyard?
It was on the morning of August 2nd.
And with your hands, Mr. Sheindlin, I want you to show me how big the plants were.
This being the pot that they were growing out of, I'd say roughly about here.
About 2.5 to 3 feet.
Correct.
So let's say Mr. Barone moved in the end of May. So we had June and July to plant little seeds, right? And then for these plants to grow. I am not an expert in everything. I know that that surprises you. So do we have an estimate as to whether or not marijuana plants can grow from seeds to 3 feet high in 60 days?
I believe they can. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert either.
Bert, have you ever heard of people growing marijuana plants?
Sure.
Do you have any clue as to whether or not a marijuana plant can grow to 3 feet high in 60 days?
I have no idea.
Okay, now, Mr. Sheindlin, now you can tell me all about your cause of action, which you allege that Mr. Barone falsely reported that you assaulted him and that you were growing marijuana in your backyard.
Correct.
Go.
On August 2nd, the morning, I had gone outside and noticed that my garden hose was extended all the way to the end of the yard. So I had gone back to the end to recoil the garden hose. When I'd gone back, I'd noticed that in the back, behind bushes, were marijuana plants growing.
Go ahead.
So when I had discovered these, of course, I was curious. We live in the house with a 4-year-old child of ours. My immediate instinct was to destroy them and call her, my girlfriend, and tell her to come home and that we need to kick Dominic out of the house because I had noticed that, you know, I don't grow marijuana. So, I mean, this has obviously been planted by him. And when she had come home, she had Dominic drive her home because they work at the same place, the job that I had gotten him. When they had come home, I had confronted Dominic, told him that he needs to move out of my house.
Did you tell him why?
I did. At that time, he had jumped up and pushed me down onto the couch. And then he had strangled me. My girlfriend was present during the entire thing and witnessed it, was screaming at him to get off of me. After about 2 minutes, when he finally did release me, I had called the police. At that time, Mr. Barone had ran upstairs to our bedroom and had threatened to destroy our belongings if I did anything or made any actions with the police. I had then noticed that I really can't do much at that moment, and I had gone to the courthouse to file a peace order.
So you didn't wait for the police?
I did not, Your Honor, because I honestly was a little frazzled from the whole incident. He had strangled me for about 3 minutes.
Well, you weren't frazzled. That
That's
didn't
not
frazzle
possible,
you.
ma'am. How can you strangle for someone for 3 minutes?
Mr. Barone,
I
don't
apologize.
speak.
I won't.
When you left the house, who was in the house?
Mr. Barone and Catalina,
And where was your child?
he was with his grandparents.
Okay, so you left this raving maniac in the house with the mother of your child so that you can go to the courthouse. That's what you're telling me.
In so many words, Your Honor, yes.
Well, that's what you did.
Yeah.
I mean, he's upstairs threatening to destroy all your property. You call the police and leave your wife. How tall are you?
4'11".
4'11". You left her with him in the house, and you left to go to the courthouse.
Yes. Poor judgment, I admit.
Very poor judgment, sir. What's next?
I had gone to the courthouse to file a peace order, which I have here, to get him removed from the residence.
I see that.
He also violated the peace order less than a week after.
I don't want to hear about that. That's okay. So then you're at the courthouse. Now you take this and go home. What do you do?
I had then come home. Mr. Barone was already back at work, and I had told him that he's not allowed to come back to the house. I have a peace order against him. When he did arrive at the house, he had brought city police with him and had told them that I was growing marijuana in the backyard. And before he even entered my residence, had these officers searching the outside of my premises. On top of that, Your Honor.
Just a minute. Mr. Barone.
Yes, ma'am.
You were, in fact, at some point served with this peace order, and you did, in fact, appear with an attorney. Now, you appeared at some point before Judge William...
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh. Is not an answer. Yes, ma'am. And at that time, you and your attorney, after being fully advised of your rights, consented to the entry of a final peace order.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
You want to explain to me why, sir, if you were innocent of everything that transpired on the 2nd of August, you would consent to the entry of a peace order?
Well, for one reason, I don't know what the heck my lawyer was doing at that point in time.
Oh, I don't believe that for a
really
moment,
don't.
Mr. Barone.
Dominic,
listen to me, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I had to plead
You're
for
a wise guy, and wise guys always know what their lawyers are doing.
Well, not in this point in time, unfortunately.
How did you find that lawyer, Mr. Barone?
He actually helped me with my DUI.
So he was helpful, so he was a good lawyer.
But, no, he knew people in the court. That's the only reason I really got him initially. I mean, I'm dead serious. He knew the judges. I got off on a very lenient, I was on probation for a year. I made a bad decision to move in with someone that was bipolar. He just flipped out one day. When I get my chance, I'll explain it to you, ma'am.
Go ahead. Now I'll hear you.
Great. Okay, I'm at work with, unfortunately, his girlfriend. So I get her motioning towards me. She said, I don't understand. Jason keeps on calling me. He's crazy. He broke his TV with his phone. He ripped the phone jack out of the wall. Could you take me to lunch while you go to lunch? I said, no problem. I'm going to head back anyways. So she comes with me to the house. We get there. Jason's nowhere to be found. The house is torn up, papers everywhere. His cell phone's broken in like 15 pieces. His 55-inch TV is shattered on the front, and Jason's nowhere to be found. So I proceed to, go about my business, getting my lunch. I only have about an hour. As I'm fixing lunch, Jason returns. He doesn't say anything to me, and I understand I have a bad temper sometimes as well. I'm going to be honest. So I left him alone. I don't want anybody to speak to me when I'm angry. I gave him his peace, sat down, ate. It was actually beefaroni. I was eating beefaroni. He went upstairs to talk to Catalina. He comes downstairs and storms out. I hear tires peel. Catalina comes down crying. I ask, what's wrong? She says, I don't understand what he's saying. I didn't know what to say to him. So I was like, look, I can't live here. I'm giving you my 30-day notice now. I can't live in I'm on probation. I can't live in a hostile environment like this. So Jason, like I said, returns. I don't say anything to him. At that point in time, I'm finishing my food. He leaves. When he came back, I was sitting on the couch, and me and Catalina were actually discussing the situation, saying, look, I don't know what the heck's going on with him. Why would you break your own TV? And he heard that, and he's like, okay, can I use profanity on here or no?
You can do whatever you like,
Okay,
Mr. Barone. I guarantee you at my age, you can't say anything that I haven't heard before.
I didn't want to disrespect you. He said, get the out of my house. At that point in time, I said, for what? And he's like, oh, because you're talking. So he's trying to antagonize me, trying to get me to, beat him up. And I know he's trying to lure me into it for me to violate my probation. So I'm not violating probation for anybody. I sit down, I'm finishing my stuff, and he comes up and hovers over me and calls me again and puts his fingers to my head and pushes it. It's kind of like a mush or something. So as soon as he mushed me, I got up and I pushed him back. I said, Jason, you come towards me, I'm going to have to defend myself. Jason comes lunging towards me, and I practiced a little bit of jiu-jitsu throughout my life, and I don't know if you know what a guillotine hold is, but it's basically a subduing move. So he kind of tackles me, and I have him in a subduing move. And at this time, I tell Catalina, call the cops, I'm being assaulted. And Catalina's looking at me like she's bewildered, like she doesn't know what to do. So at this point in time, I hear him gurgle, and my intent is not to hurt him. It's just to subdue him. So I let it go a little bit, let him breathe. As soon as that's done, I said, look, Jason, I'm going to give you another chance. I'm going to let you up, but if you come towards me, I'm going to have to hurt you. So I let him up. He jumps over the couch like he's doing hurdles in a sprint and runs to the phone and calls the cops and says that he's being assaulted. So that's where we're at right now, in a nutshell.
Who was growing the marijuana in the backyard?
Again, back to the same statement I said. If I had a house and I was leasing a room to someone that was living at my house, do you think that I would let them?
Don't ask me questions, sir. It's not my job to answer your questions.
Jason was growing the weed. And he got arrested for possession of marijuana that day as well, which is even more
Did you tell the police that he was growing the marijuana?
Well, when I...
Just look at me and answer my question.
Okay.
Did you tell the police that he was growing the marijuana?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know about the marijuana, Mr. Barone?
I lived there. We both knew. Like, him saying that he wouldn't know that there's plants growing on his own property.
Just a second.
It's ludicrous.
I asked you a question. How did you know about the marijuana?
I knew there was marijuana there. It's our backyard.
Just a second. When did you first know about it?
When he first started planting them.
When?
I have no idea.
You said when he first started planting them.
Yeah, they were probably about a little bit bigger than that, seedlings, when I got there.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
And you went to the backyard and you saw these little tiny seedlings back there? Is that what you're telling me, Mr.
No,
Barone?
actually, Jason was very proud of them, and he showed it to me. And I was like, okay. I mean, they're not mine. I'm not growing them, so cool.
Who watered them?
Who watered them?
Why does that sound like there's an echo here, sir? I asked you a question. I said, who watered them?
You know what? I'll be honest.
Look.
I'll be honest. I help water them. I'll be honest. I'm here to tell the truth. I'm not here to lie or deceive anybody, so. I smoke weed myself.
No.
Yes.
Don't believe me.
Yes. Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What you're telling me just doesn't have a ring of truth to it. Forget him. He doesn't know about the ring of truth. But what you're telling me doesn't have the ring of truth. And I don't know why.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jason Sendler is accusing former tenant Dominic Barone of having him falsely arrested for growing marijuana.
Okay, now stand up. Tell me what happened on the 2nd of August. Look at me, make sure that I get whatever is a legitimate story from you. Okay. Otherwise, you see that? It's nothing compared to what I do to people who are 4'11". Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Go!
On August 2nd, I get a call from my boyfriend, Jason, telling me that I have to go to the house. He also told me that Dominic needs to be out of the house. I couldn't understand why was the reason. He was really upset, so I asked Dominic that I need to go with him to the house. I didn't tell him that Jason told me that.
What happened when you got home?
When I got home,
look at me.
Jason was there. He was pretty upset, and basically he asked Dominic to leave the house because of the stuff that he found in the backyard, and he just needed him out of the house.
Did your boyfriend break the TV?
I don't know. I don't know who actually brought the TV. He was just upset.
Who do you think broke the TV? Look at me.
I think it was Jason because he was upset and he called me, and at the time that he called me, he hadn't interfered with the phone.
Whose TV was it?
Or TV.
So he was furious.
He was.
What did you break the TV with, Jason?
My cell phone doesn't work in the house, and it was giving me trouble, and I threw it at the ground, and when it hit the ground, it skipped and shattered bounced into the TV screen.
Are you serious?
I threw it at the ground.
I don't want to hear you.
Directly at the ground.
Mr. Barone, yes, I don't like you. I know how you feel about me, but there's something about you that's very irritating, sir. I think that maybe you should go to some sort of a counselor to help you reprogram yourself so that you won't be such an irritating person for the rest of your life.
I'll check it out. I'll check that out.
I don't believe that story, Mr. Sindler. Do you understand?
I understand.
That's a lot of baloney. You don't break a television when a cell phone skips on the floor.
It bounced into it and broke the panel, the screen, in front of it.
People deserve each other. Mr. Sindler.
Oh, that's low.
Mr. Sindler, I tend to believe you about a couple of things. I tend to believe you, sir, that it was Mr. Barone who started to grow this marijuana in your backyard. Tend to believe you. Not sure. I also find it really unusual that someone doesn't see contraband that he is familiar with because you had a prior drug arrest growing in your backyard. So something else is going on, Mr. Sindler. I don't know what it is. What do you think it might be?
I'm not sure exactly what you're getting at, but as I explained...
I don't know what it
bushes
is, Mr. Sindler. I don't know why a man like you, who, according to you, is faced with somebody who is out of control, would leave the mother of his child at home to fend for herself while he gets in the car and goes to a courthouse when the police are on their way. I don't understand that, Mr. Sindler. It doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm not getting the full truth from either one of you. Can you understand my consternation, sir? Can you understand why what you're telling me just doesn't have a ring of truth to it? Forget him. He doesn't know about the ring of truth. But what you're telling me doesn't have the ring of truth. And I don't know why.
Well, what I can honestly say is that when I had left, as I had admitted before, it was poor judgment. But at the same time, I was also upset with my girlfriend for the fact that she didn't make any attempts to contact any police during the time that he was attacking me. Like I said, bad
Why do you
judgment.
think that is, sir? Why?
Because I was pretty scared of Dominic's actions, and
Why weren't you afraid for Jason?
I was afraid that what he will be able to do in the house. And he said that he will definitely destroy the house. He burned the house, and he will, you know, basically kill us, my kid and myself and my boyfriend.
That's what I'm asking you. I don't understand how Jason could have left you alone with what he says is a lunatic.
Basically, he was just trying to get the pizza to get him out of the house, and we got him out of the
Who
house.
pled guilty to the possession of this marijuana?
My charge was dropped, Your Honor, which I have proof of
I'd
here.
like to see it. What about yours?
No, mine, I did the community service again.
I'm asking you what happened with yours. He says his was dropped. What
Mine was
happened
like
with yours?
A no proseque or whatever you guys call that.
That means that you pled
Yes.
nolo contendere.
Yes, again, with the lawyer. That's why I no longer have him.
Gotcha. Mr. Barone, if I knew the kind of assistance to offer you to make you into a more affable person,
Affable?
and one
You don't
that
even
is
know me.
more, and yeah, I do know
No,
you.
you don't.
I do know you, sir.
you
I've
don't.
been in the justice system for 30 years. Believe me, I know you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500. Excuse me, you're only suing for $2,000?
Actually, Your
I would
Honor.
have given you more, sir,
Your
because
Honor, if I
I'm
may.
speaking.
All right, no problem.
It's crazy.
Because Mr. Barone pled guilty to the growing of marijuana.
No, it wasn't
contendere
growing.
is.
It
I'm
was
speaking.
paraphernalia. Well, get it right
I'm
then.
speaking.
If you're gonna say it, then speak. Get it right.
I
It was
always get it-
paraphernalia.
I
No,
always
you
get it
didn't,
right,
because
sir.
I didn't get charged for plants. It was paraphernalia of a scale.
Oh,
Yeah.
of a scale.
That he put in my bag.
Of a
Yeah.
scale.
You haven't seen
Perfect.
any of my.
Judgment for the plaintiff in
Great.
the amount of $2,000.
Happy birthday.
That's
Merry
all.
Christmas.
Step out.
No problem.
Yes, case number 77 on the calendar in the matter of Ravello versus Turner. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Ravello, you and Mr. Turner had a relationship. You claimed two things. First, you claimed that he borrowed some money from you. He repaid the money with some checks. And the first time you went to cash the checks, the first check bounced. So he still owes you that money. He never went back to cash the rest of the checks. And in addition to the bad checks, it is your claim that Mr. Ravello assaulted you. You have certain medical bills that you want him to pay for, as well as paying for the pain and suffering that you endured as a result of this assault. Mr. Turner says that the bad checks were a bank error, having nothing to do with him, and that the assault on you was nothing compared to what you did to him, that you actually assaulted him with a dangerous instrument, your car. When he was attempting to get out of your car, you sped away, causing him serious physical injury. He is counterclaiming. Is that correct,
Yes,
sir?
ma'am.
Let's deal with the loan first. So let's get rid of simple things first. So I'm going to go to you, Mr. Turner, because there are certain things that are stated fact. You seem to acknowledge in your answer that you borrowed money from Miss Ravello.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you borrow the money for?
It was different reasons, like I needed certain things like the truck,
You have
my
to keep your
brakes,
voice
my-
up, Mr. Turner,
I'm
because
sorry.
I don't like to
My,
strain. When I strain, I get lines on my face. When I get lines on my face, my producer doesn't like it.
Okay. Well, yeah, different things, like brakes for my car. I needed that done. I needed the down payment on the mortgage, on rent too, on the apartment we had together. That's little things like that.
How much did you owe her?
Probably $400, $500, something like that.
Was it 4 or 5?
550.
550. And you gave her checks.
Yes, ma'am, I did. When she went to cash the checks, what had happened with that was I went to go to the bank, get the money. When she took me back, we was arguing in the car.
Just a second. Do you still owe her the $550,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Turner?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You know, I'm a bottom line girl. Life is short, and I have other things to do today. So on your side, you get $550 because he gave you a bunch of bad checks. So you get that money. Now tell me the date of this assault.
May 19 was the first one.
May 19th of what year?
06.
And were you together after May 19th of 06?
Yes.
How much after?
Till August 2nd.
Of what year?
06.
From May 19th of 06 to August 2nd of 06, did you live together?
Off and on, yes. We had an apartment. He lived with his mom and I lived with my dad, and we had shared an apartment.
And did you go out for dinner?
No.
Did you share a bedroom?
Yes.
I'm not interested in the assault on May 19th of 06.
That was the most important one.
Well, wouldn't have stayed after the first one. But we're talking about an incident that happened over a year ago. Why didn't you sue him before? Why did you stay with him? Why did you live with him? Why did you sleep with him? Why did you eat with him after he assaulted you? You don't let a man put their hands on you and then come in a year later and wake up and say, well, now I'd like some money. Were you hospitalized?
No.
The assault you cross off to, I should have been smarter. I'm old enough to have been smarter than to let somebody put their hands on me more than once. When was this assault that you're complaining about, Mr. Turner?
In August 2006.
August what?
When she hurt my knee, we had seen each other 3 days prior to that, okay? And 3 days after that, I get a letter from the sheriff saying that she had a restraining order on me. I'm like to myself, well, why is that?
Well, after the incident in the car in August, you did not live together anymore.
Oh, after August, I get, the sheriff came to the apartment and gave me a letter saying I had to evict the premises, which, okay.
After August, Mr. Ravello.
Yes.
When you had this incident that Mr. Turner is going to talk to me about,
Yes.
madam. Did you live together?
No.
So the relationship was over?
Ended.
Fine. Now, Mr. Turner, I'm going to see how absolutely fair a jurist I am. I'm not going to entertain her old assault case after she took you back and lived with you and schmutchkied with you and everything. Not interested. But I'm going to hear your version of what happened in August, because after that, there was no more relationship.
True. Okay, now.
Okay, you gave her bad checks. She
Right.
was annoyed that you gave her bad checks. So she picked you up in her car?
Right. I was
To
told
go to the bank?
Right. Right.
That's what you say in your answer.
Right.
So now you're in the car, on the way to the bank, going to fix up this problem with the bad checks, and you have an argument.
Okay,
So
I
far,
told
am
her,
I
look,
telling the story almost like I
absolutely.
was there, right?
Okay. I told her,
Now,
hey,
tell me what you said to her and what she said to you.
I told her, look, I don't want to escalate the problem anymore. Let me out the car. When we get to the next stop sign, we'll deal with this later, when we both calm down.
What
Okay.
was she saying to you?
Just going off about different things. Like, no, we're going to go now to the bank, blah, 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 this and that. I'm like, well, you know what? If we're going to go with this kind of attitude, things already heated up. It's best that we both calm down and wait until another day. When she came to a stop sign, I'm like, I'm going to get out. I open the door, let my leg out. She takes off with my leg out the door and pop my knee out of place. Okay, she ended up stopping. Wait, I gets out, end up walking into my apartment. Okay? So when I get out the car, go back in my house, I noticed that something was bothering my knee. I couldn't put like pressure on it. Okay? So then she came back to the apartment. She said, no, I'm sorry, I'll take you to the hospital. Well, I said,
Does that sound familiar to you?
Some of it.
Okay. And did you go to the hospital?
yes, ma'am, I did.
Can I see the report, please?
Yes, ma'am.
And I will have a chance to say my version of that, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And some of those bills, Your Honor, started in collections because I was told not to contact her, but I was saying to myself, I don't think I should be responsible for those bills.
What was the date of this, sir?
August
Second.
2nd, yeah, something like in there. So
You might
if we
see
had,
bills on there for other things because he has gone to the emergency room for
Well,
other
I
things,
see,
many
I
other
see,
things.
I see that
for
they x-rayed his
at-risk.
knee on August 4th, 2 days later. 2 days
I
later.
didn't
And I
take
see
him
that
to the
the
hospital.
emergency
she didn't take
room...
me to the hospital. I went myself. No, she didn't take me to the emergency room.
I thought you said she came back to take you to the emergency
She
room.
didn't take me. No.
Just a second. So she came back to take you to the
And I did
emergency
not go with her. Right. I did not.
Oh,
right.
well,
I
you
didn't want.
didn't
I
go
didn't
with
want,
her.
Right. I didn't want nothing. Why am I gonna go with you to the hospital and you just drove and took my leg out?
Okay.
And one more question.
So you waited. When did you go to seek a protective order? On what date?
I got a restraining order on August 2nd.
Let me see what you wrote when you petitioned the court for a protective order. You told them that he assaulted you in July. You were telling me something that happened in May.
May 19th was the assault, and August 2nd was the second assault.
You don't say anything to the court about August 2nd,
I
Mr.
don't know
Ravello.
nothing about
Shh.
it. Sorry.
You say that on July 28th at 5:18 He grabbed my arms, leaving bruises. Fear made that he may pull a gun on me. While I was driving, he unlocked the door, opened it, and exited. Miss Ravello.
Yes.
When we started this hearing, you said to me the bad assault was May 19th, 2006.
Yes.
Okay? Then you go to the police and you tell the police that something happened to you on July 28th, 2006, that he grabbed you and left bruises. But you just happened to go there on August 2nd, the day he got injured in the car. That sounds a lot to me like you're covering your tracks, madam.
Okay.
Whew.
All right.
Woo. You tell me you.
I'm a little...
You tell me you. There's a paper trail. The paper trail is clear, and what you told me was clear.
Well, on August 2nd, we started going to the bank because of a bounce check. And he didn't want to go to the bank, and I wanted to go to the bank. So he was in the car, and he unlocked the door and exited while my car was going. So he exited out of the car, and then I stopped. Then I went back to the house. We argued. He grabbed my arms again. That was the second domestic violence incident.
You say absolutely nothing about that here in your application. You say that when he grabbed you, that was on July 28th.
It's not true, Your Honor.
I don't want you to speak.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I might have some date. It was like all around that time. I'm
No.
sorry.
What
But
happened was
at that
you got frightened that you hurt him. You got frightened when he opened the door. He put one foot out the door and you took off. You were so furious you took off.
No, I was driving at the time, and he
Listen
unlocked.
to me. Listen to me, Miss Ravello. Mr. Turner isn't an idiot. He looks like a smart enough guy that would not get out of a moving car.
But he did.
No, I don't believe that. What I believe happened was you were furious. And he said, stop the car, let me out of the car. You may have slowed down. And then he put his foot out of the door and you took off and you were furious. But then you got worried.
I was
you got
worried.
worried that you hurt him.
I did. I
And
was
then you
worried.
went back and he said to you, get out of here. I don't want your help. And you said, I better get me to the police station and file for a protective order. And you tell them in the protective order something that happened days before that caused you to come to court and seek a protective order. And when you come to court here, you tell me that he assaulted you and he hurt you May 19th, 3 months before.
He did.
Okay.
I had serious
Fine.
bruises all over my body from that incident.
In May?
Yes, May 19th was horrible. It was a horrible night.
Then you should not have stayed with him, madam. You should not have
I know.
stayed with him, slept with him, eaten with him.
Well, there's the
partied
I'm
with him.
sorry thing. There's
Well,
the I
I'm sorry
love you.
too.
I'm sorry.
too. You get your
Let's-
$550 back, but I'm going to take a look at his medical bills because I believe that you caused the injury to him that happened on May 2nd.
But he exited while I was driving.
Mr. Vello, I don't believe you. It's as simple as that, my dear.
Oh, Your Honor, can I say something else, please?
If you want to.
When I went back to the apartment, all of my stuff was in the alley. My clothes, everything. I get a phone call from one of her neighbors saying that, Turner, you better get back to the apartment. Hey, man, your stuff is in the alleys for the pickings. Everything I owned in the apartment was in the alley. I didn't get a chance to get nothing.
Why'd you throw his stuff away for?
Because we were being evicted because the landlord in front, he filed an indecency report because he parties a lot.
Just a second. When were you evicted from the apartment?
I'm sorry.
When were you evicted from the apartment? On what date?
I'm so nervous. I don't have that. I know it. The police evicted us on August 7th. I have it here. I'm going to get it together here
The
because
police evicted
I
you
was
on
wronged
August?
here.
Just a second.
August 7th.
And on what date did you go back and find your stuff in the alley?
That same day. And I called the police department because they told me if I came back over there, they're going to arrest me. So I called back and told them.
You had no reason to put his
Because
stuff in the alley?
There was a restraining order. He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave the apartment. There was things involved that I don't want to say right now.
I don't.
in
Just a
his-
second. Listen to me.
He wouldn't-
I'm asking you why you threw his things in the alley.
Because he wouldn't leave.
Listen to me. The fact that you put him out after he lived with you, you're entitled to do that. Things don't work out.
Right.
He's got to leave. Thank you for agreeing with me. Keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
You have no right to take his belongings and throw them away. You have the responsibility to put them in a box.
I did.
No. Make a
I brought bags and I brought boxes and I packed them up and I put them behind the house. And my
No.
family helped me do that.
No way.
No.
No way. No way,
No.
madam.
I
No way. You
did.
got a bad temper.
I
Got a bad
did.
temper. He may too. but you got a bad temper. You owe him $1,566 for his medical bills. You owe him another $500 for the property that you threw away. From the money that you owe him, which is $2,066, I am deducting the $550 loan, which means on his counterclaim, you owe him $1,516. Judgment on the counterclaim for the defendant. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I hate things that happen the way they did.
It's over.
But like I said, I'm happy I won the case, so that's all that counts.
I have a ticket to Hawaii. I have a new job in Hawaii. I'm out of here.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Jones versus Crooks. Step forward, please.
20-year-old Kyle Jones is suing his mother, Barbara Crooks, for a loan to pay her bills. Barbara says her son is ungrateful.
Kyle, this is your mom.
Yes, it is.
It is your claim that you loaned your mother $2,000 that she needed when she ran into financial trouble with her mortgage. And you loaned her that money from your college loan fund. You were going to college at the time, and evidently you were taking out some financial aid?
Yes.
There was an agreement with your mother that she would pay you back so much per month. You claim she didn't do that. How old are you, Kyle?
I'm 20 years old.
And when did you lend your mother this money?
On January 19th, 2006.
Did your mother call you and tell you she needed money?
Yeah, on January 18th, 2006, she called me, said that she needed some money for her mortgage.
Why would you call him to ask him for money?
Given my financial situation, I knew that he would be able to help me out, and I knew that he obviously trusts me enough to help me.
Who else was living with you?
My husband, myself, my younger son, and my brother.
How old's your brother?
37,
And how old's your husband?
same age.
So you call your 19-year-old child to give you money? Why aren't they working?
It wasn't that they weren't working. My brother's mentally handicapped. He's never had a job.
Well, so he must get disability.
Yes, he does.
Okay, so it's not as if you're taking care of him, the government takes care of him. Now, what about your husband? What kind of work does he do?
He works for a grocery store, does night stock.
So you have 3 adults in the house, at least one of whom is contributing through government subsidy to your household. You have a husband who works, and what about you?
I work full time.
Well, then how did you run into financial difficulty? You have 3 people all bringing in money into a household? How did that happen?
No savings, unexpected bills arise.
Like what came up in January of 2006?
It wasn't just January. In December, I got very ill.
Okay, so January.
In January, I had just a burden of bills. I felt as though if Kyle helped me out, I would be able to pay him back. There was never an agreement stating that I would pay him back X amount at any certain time. It was, Kyle, I will pay you back as soon as possible. No sooner did I start to give him some money, I found out I had cancer, ended up losing my job. So
Well, what
if I
about
wasn't,
just a minute, what about your husband?
his income alone was not enough to cover our bills. I'm the breadwinner in our house. Always have been.
Well, you don't expect him to eat this $2,000, do you?
I don't expect him to eat this $2,000. I've paid him a great deal of that $2,000
Show
back.
me.
I don't have receipts. If you have a 19-year-old living in your home,
Okay, so you're telling me you don't have receipts for paying him back, but what you did was you allowed him to live rent-free and you gave him spending money.
oh, and I actually have some receipts where I paid his doctor's bill. I have receipts where I've paid to repair the damages that he's done to my home with his BB guns, with his homemade potato launcher or whatever it is. You know, it's not as though I just didn't give him money. I gave him money, but never thinking that I should have to get a receipt from a child who lives in my house, who I support.
Absolutely, madam. You wouldn't have to get a receipt. You wouldn't have to keep notations unless you would borrow $2,000 from him that you said you were going to pay back. And you did say you were going to pay him back because ultimately he has to pay back the government that $2,000. That's not free money.
I know. I went to school myself. I obtained my degree in 2002, working full-time, going to school full-time, and raising an ungrateful teenager.
I want to tell you something. If I only had 5 of these ungrateful teenagers who went through college on student loans with no help from their parents.
No help from his parents.
Well, I don't hear any money that you gave him towards tuition, room, and board when he was living in school. Did you pay his tuition? Did you pay his room? Did you pay his board? Did you pay for his books while he was living in school?
No, I didn't.
Well, that's what I just said. He had no help from you. He took out student loans, he took out grants, and you took money from that to pay your mortgage. When you have 3 adults in your house, one of whom doesn't work, but gets government subsidy, I'm sure substantial government subsidy because it's at least $600 a month. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes.
Of course. And I say at least. And your mortgage is how much a month?
$1,000.
$1,000 a month. So his money alone practically covers the mortgage, so that it's just the rest of the bills that you have in the house.
Can I show you some email and some evidence from him?
Evidence that shows what?
the damages that he's done to my home. I
That's
wouldn't
what
think of
teenagers
suing
do.
him.
That's what teenagers do.
Oh, they put
Under
BB
ordinary
holes in every wall of your house.
Let me tell you something, madam. You owe him $2,000. Be a good mother. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. Yeah, this is case number 105 on the calendar in the matter of Arnold Hill versus Arnold. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Miss Arnold, this is your former husband,
Yes,
and this is your
new husband.
new husband. And according to your complaint, your former husband made allegations about you and your husband with regard to your treatment of your two children. You have two children with him?
Yes,
As a result of that, the two of you were briefly arrested and lost custody of the children for a very brief period of time. The children are back with you now.
yes,
Mr. Arnold said he has every right to have been concerned about his children. He acknowledges he made the report that resulted in your arrest, and he is going to explain to me why. Now, when were you divorced, Miss Arnold?
August 16, 2004.
And how many children do you have, Mr. Arnold?
Two, a boy
Only
and a girl.
two children.
Yes, by her.
What are their dates of birth?
March 19th for my son, 99, and my daughter, September 4th, 1995.
And did you and your former wife live together until 2004?
No.
When did you separate?
2002 or probably one.
When did you separate?
2000.
Your former wife has had physical custody of the children since 2000. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Since one of the children was a year old, right? And one of the children was 5 years old.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Explain it to me.
My son was at least about 3 years old when we was living together.
Is that right?
Bruce has been on and on in the household. So it was basically 1 month he'll be in the household, the next month he will not.
That's a lot.
With duration of that, his appearance was basically an in-and-out father. I assumed full custody of my kids, sole custody, when I got the divorce, August 16, 2004.
Okay. Now I got it. Now, sir, you made a report to Child Protective Services or to the police?
To the police.
When?
December 2006, I believe it was around the 15th or 16th.
Prior to December 2016, that's the date of your divorce, have you been regularly paying child support?
Yes, off and on.
Yes, off and on is not regularly paying child support. Since August 16th, have you been regularly paying child support?
I paid child support twice. I pay from the public aid and for our divorce.
I'm asking you, since August 16th, 2004, when the divorce granted you primary physical custody, have you been regularly paying support?
Yes.
Well, you said yes, and then 2 seconds ago you said yes off and on. Which one is it?
Because when I wasn't working, I was still giving her $50 a week, and they weren't taking out my check.
Is that right?
No. Basically, since like all of this happened December 16th, I'll say a minimum of about 2 payments that he has given me. This current year, up to date, I would say at the most, maybe a month worth of payments. And that's $50 every other month, if that.
Okay. Now, sir, you reported an incident to the police in December of 2006. You want to tell me what precipitated that report?
Yes, my children was home with my mother, their grandmother, and my daughter and her was talking. And my daughter came out and told her everything that was going on about the past and the present. And so my mother got on the phone, called me crying. She was saying that my kids are being abused.
Don't tell me what your mother said to you. I assume that there was a time that you came home and spoke to your children.
I was getting to that point, man.
I know, but you can't tell me what your mother said to you, sir, because that's hearsay.
I understand.
You can, however, tell me what your children...
said.
Listen to me. You're not paying attention, Mr. Arnold. You cannot tell me what your mother said to you. There is an exception with regard to what children say to their parents in family court proceedings, so I'm accepting what the children said to you. And I assume that as a result of the conversation with your mother, you had a conversation with your children.
Yes, ma'am.
When?
As soon as I got off the phone with her, I came home and I talked to my children. And that's when they informed me about the things that was going on.
Well, I would like you to tell me specifically what they informed you and which child informed you of
My
what.
daughter informed me that one occasion that Zanita had sat on top of her back while Lawrence whooped her. Then my son told me...
Okay, now, that's what your daughter said to you.
Yes, ma'am.
That her stepfather had hit her with what?
A belt.
Did she tell you when?
It was like a month prior to that date.
Are you making this up as you're going? Are you sure that she said to you it was a month before?
Yes, I am, ma'am.
Okay. And is that all your daughter told you?
No.
What else did she tell you?
She told me that she got a whooping because she didn't like what her mother had picked out for school, and she got in trouble for that.
Is that at the same occasion that you're talking to me about?
No, ma'am.
That was on a different occasion.
Yes.
And when did she say that happened?
Well, she didn't really say when that one happened. And then my son told me that he gets whoopings for no reason. I was like, they're not just whooping you for no reason. So he told me about when they used to stay in Texas, that he showed me a burnt mark that he said Lawrence had burnt him with an iron. I said, did he do it on purpose or on accident? He said, no, Daddy, he did it on purpose.
When were you living in Texas? What year?
2003, 2004.
So that's 2003, 2004. So that your son was either 4 or 5 years old when you were in Texas. Okay. And what else did your son tell you?
He told me, well, actually, she told me one time that he had whooped him and hit him in his private part, and it swelled up so bad that she claimed they took him to the hospital.
And your former wife told you that?
And he's a witness to that.
Okay. So as a result of that, those are the reasons that you called the police?
It was all building up, the stuff that they telling me that I didn't know what was going on.
Okay.
Yes,
that's the reason why you called the police. Mr. Hill, I have a couple of questions for you, sir. And I would prefer answers from you so that I don't necessarily have to interview the children, who I understand are here, because I assume that they've already been examined and spoken to. So I would prefer that I get the legitimate answers from you. Mr. Hill, have you ever hit either of your stepchildren?
I have disciplined them with a belt in previous instances, yes.
How often?
Very infrequently.
More than 5 times since you've been their stepfather, or less than 5 times?
Less than 5 times.
More than twice or less than twice?
More than twice, less than 5.
And have you done that with the approval of Miss Arnold?
Yes.
Has Miss Arnold ever disciplined the children with a belt?
Yes.
These are hard questions.
That's right. I'm sorry, man.
You got a lot of nerves.
Miss Arnold, don't speak to him.
I'm sorry.
Don't speak to him. How often have you witnessed Miss Arnold disciplining her children with a belt?
I would say over the past 4 years, less than 5, more than twice.
Both the boy and the girl?
Yes. My daughter really doesn't get whoopings at all. We don't have
You
that
mean your
many.
stepdaughter?
Yes.
How old was your stepson when you started to discipline him with a belt?
He was 4, almost 5 years old.
And do you remember the reason that you disciplined him with a belt?
No, not offhand. It was so long ago.
Well, try to tell me what infractions were that you remember that caused either the boy or the girl to be disciplined with a belt.
From what I remember is for lying.
Who was lying?
My son was lying.
What did he say?
I believe it had something to do with school. We hold school very important, so...
Do you remember, Miss Arnold?
Actually, this particular incident, when he's talking about, it was dealing with school. We had a conversation with Michael regarding his grades and also just the upkeep of his schoolwork. We talked with him on numerous occasions about it. Our whoopings or our discipline methods are not what Bruce tends them out to be. When we do, at that point, when he did whoop him, it's more or less, we'll tell him to hold out his hand and whoop him 1 or 2 times at that point.
That's not true.
Okay.
Are you in the household?
Shh. Hey! Listen to me. Your lawsuit alleges that Mr. Arnold had no right to notify the police or Child Protective Services about what he perceived to be abuse and or neglect of his children. You believe that. And I'm telling you that he had every right to notify Child Protective Services. And if notify the police who reported you to Child Protective Services in order to ascertain whether or not you were using excessive corporal punishment, he had not only the right, but he had the obligation to do that. You two look like very nice people. There is a difference between corporal punishment and excessive corporal punishment. I acknowledge that. That's a term of law, because the law in this country doesn't say, although perhaps it should, that you cannot corporally punish your children by using a belt or a hanger or anything else. The law says that you cannot excessively punish your children. But as a parent, if my children came to me and said that their step-parent was whipping them with a belt, a 4-year-old,
Ma'am, it wasn't
I'm
a belt.
speaking.
It was an iron.
It was an iron.
He's stating,
That's what he's stating.
Listen to
That's
me.
why we got arrested.
Listen to
because
me.
He said that we whooped
We
them
have
with a
the-
metal iron
the
and we
actual
burnt the
statements.
child.
Never said
That
that.
was a lie.
No,
we
no,
have a
listen-
statement.
Listen to me
Prove that.
listen to me. Hey,
Come on.
you're not paying attention to what I'm saying to you.
Yes, we are, yeah.
I understand what
That's
you're saying,
their problem,
but that's not the allegation. The allegation
their
is a
problem.
metal
Listen to me.
iron.
Listen to me. If your children were telling their father that they felt as if they were being disciplined harshly by you and their stepfather. And it is apparent to me that you do discipline them harshly. Now, whether in the jurisdiction that you live, that's permissible or not, that's not up to me to say. I assume that the court's permitted you to have your children
you
back.
ask Mr. Arnold, has he whooped his children either?
Listen to
over
me.
The past
And you
number
know
of
you
years?
have whooped those kids. You
Why
don't
should
need
you
to be.
advise
Why?
me?
Why? Because you whooped them.
Still ain't got yours for
One.
to my son.
I ain't did nothing to your son.
I would like for you to talk to the kids.
Just a second.
Because that's what it's about. He made those kids lie.
Talk to the judge.
No, just a second.
I take care of
Hey!
Sir,
If you say
are
one
you
more
listening?
word, leave
Talk
it
to
down
the
there.
judge.
If you say one more word, I'm not even going to continue with the case. Do you understand, Miss Arnold?
Yes.
You have a temper problem. And my sense is if you have a temper problem here with me in a court situation where I am in authority and in control of my space, my sense is that if you have a temper problem, you can lose it with a 5-year-old. Do you get it? Now, try to keep your mouth shut. Do you understand until I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you get it?
Hey,
Stop
hey,
it.
hey.
Do you get it?
Yes.
Now, I said to you, I'm going to ask you questions so that I won't have to interview the children if I don't have to, because the children have already been interviewed, I guarantee, by many professionals with the Child Protective Services and the police department. Put your hand down. I didn't have to interview the children because you told me, the two of you told me, that you whip your children with belts. Now,
We no longer do that because we have actually had intervention prior before him making allegations.
Listen to me.
Yes, Your
listen
Honor.
to me.
Everything.
Whether or not you've had intervention,
We
and
had
you,
counseling.
You had counseling.
was
Yes,
proven
and
that
it was
we-
proven that these charges
they were
came after
allegations.
the
I
fact.
dropped the charges.
Just
He
a
should be
second.
in jail.
Hey,
No.
I'm saying
You
the
should be
same
in jail
thing
for
to
not
you
paying
as I
child
said to
support. I
them.
raised your kids.
How come she get money from me every other week?
Your case is
Every other week,
dismissed.
don't pay for it.
Goodbye.
Right here. Right here.
Because he doesn't want me with my current husband. That's what it's about.
My wife, she still wants to get back with me.
Asking me to just be back with him and leave my current husband.
I'm not having it. I told her maybe it's a future for us if you get a divorce.
Well, as far as it is, we're going to continue on living our life, being happy, and move forward.
But she was trying to get her cake and eat it too. It's not gonna happen like that.
They were going to move you from one jail to another because you served your time on a whole bunch of tickets in one county, but then there were other counties looking for you. You ever hear of a man for all seasons? This is a man for all counties.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hubbard versus Smith. Step forward.
20-year-old Whitney Hubbard is suing her former friend, 19-year-old Eric Smith, for the cost to bail him out of jail after he was arrested for unpaid speeding tickets.
Miss Hubbard, you claim that Mr. Smith owes you money for bailing him out of jail.
Yes.
And Mr. Smith acknowledges that you bailed him out of jail, but he said that that was your choice. He never agreed to pay you back the money, right?
Yes,
How old are you?
19.
What do you do to keep yourself occupied?
I'm a full-time student and I work
Full-time student where?
Longview Community College, Kansas City, Missouri.
And you work for whom?
Walgreens.
And what were you arrested for, Mr. Smith?
On speeding charges, tickets that I didn't pay, warrants,
Speeding, tickets, warrants. How many?
8.
How do you manage to get all these tickets if you're a full-time student and working at Walgreens?
What it was when I was in high school, I racked up a lot of tickets, like speeding tickets, and I didn't have a job in high school because I played football, and I didn't work and I never paid them off.
And how do you know Miss Hubbard?
I met her at the club.
Now, were you dating each other or you just knew her?
It was like kind of like that in-between thing where not really friends, but not really together either.
I see. Who is this smiling person over here?
This is my friend Robin,
How long have you known Robin?
about 6 years now.
So he's a good friend of yours?
Yes.
Better friend to you than Miss Hubbard, right?
I guess you could say that, yeah.
Well, he schlepped all the way to court with you, didn't he?
Yeah.
From Missouri?
Yeah, from Missouri.
And who do you live with?
I stay with my dad right now.
So you have a father?
Yes.
And I guess he's known you for at least 19 years, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have a mother?
Yes.
She's known you for at least 19 years.
Yes.
Now, Robin here, he didn't bail you out of jail.
Nah, he didn't.
So he must not like you so much.
Nah.
And your father didn't bail you out of jail, right?
Right.
He didn't like you so much.
No.
Your mother didn't bail you out of jail,
No.
right? She didn't like you so much.
No.
You have grandparents?
Yes.
Yeah, how many?
I actually have one.
Grandmother?
Yeah, grandmother.
She didn't bail you out of jail either.
No, she didn't know, actually.
I guarantee you she knew.
Okay.
So how long were all these loving people who were really attached to you, how long did they let you sit in jail when you got arrested?
The whole time.
How long was that?
That was 3 weeks.
3 weeks. I mean, we're not talking about we'll let him stay overnight to teach him a lesson, right? We're letting Mr. Full-Time Student Employee at Walgreens stay in jail 3 weeks. But then, according to what I managed to put together here, they were going to move you from one jail to another because you served your time on a whole bunch of tickets in one county, but then there were other counties looking for you. Is that right?
Yeah.
You ever hear of a man for all seasons? This is a man for all counties. So when they were going to move you, somehow Miss Hubbard bailed you out of jail.
Yes.
Were you happy to be out of jail?
Yes, I was.
How happy were you?
I was very excited.
And how did Miss Hubbard find out that they were going to move you from one jail to another?
I told her.
You told her?
Yeah, I told her.
Did you tell your mother?
No, I didn't tell my mother.
Did you tell your father?
Yes, I told him.
Did you tell Robin?
No, I didn't tell Robin.
Didn't tell Robin either,
No,
but
I
you
didn't.
told your father?
Yes.
And what'd your father say? Bye.
Yeah.
But not Miss Hubbard.
No.
She bailed you out.
Yes.
So what do you think you ought to do?
I told her thank you. I did. I told her thank you.
You told her thank you?
Yeah, I told her thank you. I never agreed to pay her back, so.
What did you say when you called her?
I just told her the situation, that I was done serving my time at that jail and that they were transferring me to a different jail. And she didn't want to see me in jail no more than I wanted to see myself in jail. So she proceeded to bail me out.
Oh, okay. Now, Miss Hubbard, why don't you tell me how it came about that you bailed him out of jail?
Well, he called me July 19th, which was a Thursday. I knew he was going to the next jail the next day. So he basically talked about how he was tired of being there and that he didn't want to serve the days that he would be serving at the next county. He asked me if I had some money. I told him I didn't at that moment, but I had got paid that Friday. And he basically went into, you know, my bail is $220. If you have the money, I'll pay you back when I get out of here. I don't want to be in jail anymore.
That sounds right. That sounds like what people say.
That's not what I said.
How many times did your father bail you out of jail?
About 4 times before that.
And each time that your father bailed you out of jail, did you pay him back?
No.
That's why he didn't pay you out anymore.
Right.
How are you going to pay back? How much was his bail?
It was $250.
Well, what happened when you asked him for your money back?
I never got a chance to really ask him for the money back because he basically ignored my phone calls. And the last time I saw him, though, he had told me to come back and that he was going to give me some of the money. And after that, when I had called him back, I basically got ignored.
You mean after you bailed him out, he cut you off?
Basically, yeah.
That's not nice, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, can I say something in my defense for
Yeah.
that? I didn't like the way that she was treating me, like the lifestyle that she wanted to live when I got out of jail. She wanted me to like stop hanging out with my friends that I know like way longer than her. She was real controlling and she was like real possessive and I just didn't want to talk to her anymore. So I just cut her off.
I'm going to say something to you that you've probably heard on a lot of commercials. Stay in school, okay?
Okay.
You need it. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $250. That's all.
Case number 243 on the calendar in the matter of Knockhart versus Jordan. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Knockhart, Mr. Jordan is your former roommate, and it is your claim in this lawsuit that he owes you for a whole bunch of stuff.
Correct.
Mr. Jordan says he owes you for absolutely nothing, and you got to get on with your life. Get over it and get on with your life. When was he your roommate?
He moved in August of 2003 through June of 2004.
And how long had you known him before he became your roommate?
Probably about a month.
Was your relationship with him solely that of landlord and tenant?
No.
So you had a social relationship with him as well?
No.
What?
A love relationship?
I said social.
Social?
Yes.
Sure.
Well, is that a question?
No.
That's a statement. Okay. So you had a social relationship with him as well. Is that right, Mr. Jordan?
Not entirely, Your Honor. I sometimes slept on the couch, but for the most part, we did share a bedroom.
Okay, so you had a social relationship, but you paid rent?
No, ma'am.
You did not pay rent?
I moved in with the understanding that I would not pay rent or find any costs in her bills.
Oh, that's interesting. So you weren't a tenant because the word tenant implies that you pay rent?
Yes, ma'am.
So you just lived together? I mean, I was confused about the statements. You lived together, and he did not pay rent?
He did not pay rent, but the agreement was that he was supposed to maintain the automobile and the maintenance of that. And
Whose automobile?
Mine.
Supposed to maintain a car?
Right.
Is that your agreement?
That agreement wasn't up until, like, say, January.
So from August of 2003 until January of 2004, Mr. Jordan, what you're telling me is you were just sponging.
No, Your Honor. It was all her idea.
Oh, no, I didn't know her idea. I didn't ask whose idea it was. I said, just listen to my question, Mr. Jordan. According to you, from August 2003 till January 2004, you paid no rent, you paid no bills, you paid no car insurance, you didn't have any responsibility with regard to the car. So far, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That makes you a sponge.
Okay.
Right?
I would
that means
disagree.
that as far as I'm concerned, there must be something really hidden about you that I don't see. What? Whatever. Okay. Now, he's a sponge.
Yes.
That makes you pretty dumb. Right?
No.
Sure it does. You know somebody a month, you invite them to come into your home, they pay you nothing. Must do something. Do you have a big home?
No, he was supposed to get a check that was mailed to his ex-girlfriend's house. That's why I never saw the money.
Look, you say, I met him, he moved in.
Correct.
And you agreed that he could use my car to get to and from work if he paid the insurance and the maintenance. That's what you say.
That's right.
So evidently he worked, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Usually when you have a job, you make what?
Yeah, but he got fired.
Money. And when you have a job and you make money, you take care of your expenses, like rent and food and electric and gas, unless, you know, you're a sponge. So according to you, he did not pay for the insurance on the car.
No.
So why don't you throw him out?
Well, he was supposed to be getting a big check, like I said, for $2,000, and the check was mailed somewhere else instead of our residence, and he apparently spent the money.
And when did he get the check?
February.
Well, what happened in February when you knew he got the check and he spent the money on something else? Did you throw him out?
No, he had another job at that time finally and was supposed to get the paychecks. Then he got arrested, and his lawyer that he owed money to was suing him. I couldn't get any of it at that point.
At that point, what you're supposed to say is, I am a reasonably intelligent person.
Right.
I'm living with somebody that's taking advantage of me. Get out.
Right.
Unless you're in love and everything is going to work out okay and you're really not interested in the money, you're really interested in the relationship, and the only reason you come to a point where you're interested in the money is because you're not together anymore.
No, he did start staying at a friend of his house more often.
When?
That was in May, because...
I'm talking about February, March, April.
Okay.
Nothing. Goodbye. All right. What's next? What else does he owe you money for?
A vacation that we took together and for medical bills.
All right. So let's go to the vacation. When was the vacation?
February.
Where did you go?
Las Vegas.
For how long?
February 22nd to the 29th.
You wait to drink later. And was he working at the time?
He was going to Las Vegas to work.
Was he working at the time?
Nowhere else, no.
And what was your arrangement?
He was working the convention there, the magic show, and when he returned...
What do you do for a living?
Your Honor, I have always, since she's known me, maintained an occupation as a basketball coach at the YMCA. I still work there today.
What were you doing in Las Vegas?
Oh, I model for a clothing company.
So you were modeling?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get paid?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. How much did you get paid? Do you remember?
Not entirely. Not exactly. I think it was like $1,500. Some give or take.
And who paid for all the expenses to Vegas?
To Vegas? She did.
Well, why didn't you compensate her for that?
When I got the news that I was going to Vegas, I had all my... They flew me out. They flew me out. They would room me, pay for airfare. I had a place to go. She decided that she wanted to go to Vegas. We sat down. We planned out the whole trip. Okay. When we got to Vegas, her and I would disagree, as usual, and she went one way and I went another. I stayed with a friend. That's it.
How many days were you there?
In the hotel room, I think I stayed 1 day.
Okay, how many days?
1.
Okay, so you put him out after 1 day?
No, he only stayed 1 night away from me. He tried leaving me in the middle of Las Vegas by myself. Yeah. So I tried catching a flight home, which would have costed me a lot more money than...
How did you get to Vegas? Did you fly?
Yeah.
You flew? Well, his ticket was paid for.
No, it wasn't. I have the credit card receipts right here.
Oh, well, she says it wasn't paid for. Did
Your
you
Honor,
get... Were you reimbursed by the company for your airfare there?
Normally they would have, but I opted to go with her since she wanted to go with me.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, he slipped. All right, how much was his plane ticket?
$345 for
his
the
plane
airfare.
ticket. Okay, and how much was the hotel room?
$214.76.
For both of you?
No, I divided all the costs by 2.
So it's clear to me that you were compensated, Mr. Jordan, for that. If you weren't, you were paid $1,500, probably plus expenses. You got the check. I assume you got the check to cover your expenses as $559. So far, you're off $559 for this trip to Las Vegas. What else does he owe you for? Don't say anything else. I'm giving you, so far, every benefit of the doubt, more benefit of the doubt than I usually would give to somebody who acts so dumb. What else does he owe you for?
The rental car.
Listen to me. Leave Las Vegas. Get on to something else.
Doctor bill.
Now, tell me about the doctor bill.
Ethan abused me, and I had to go to the doctor's.
When?
5/8.
Tell me what happened on May 8th.
He kicked me in the ribs, broke 2 of my toes, threw me
Well, tell me
against-
about the argument.
I don't know what actually the argument was about.
And how did the verbal argument escalate into a physical argument?
He came dashing from the living room, charging at me.
And?
Threw me against the kitchen cabinets, picked me up, threw me on the floor, spit on my face, and kicked me in the ribs.
Did you call the police?
I called my friend to come get me.
Did you call the police?
Not at that point.
When, after May 8th, did you call the police and report it?
I had a personal protection order put out on him on July 22nd. I didn't call the police on that incident.
Why not?
I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry.
Mr. Jordan, you want to tell me what happened on May 8th?
Your Honor, I do remember the fight that we got into. I don't remember why I attacked her, but I do know that that was not the only incident that became physical between either one of us.
Did you suffer any injuries on May 8th, Mr. Jordan?
Your Honor, I've got scratches all over me, but I didn't go to courtroom, I didn't go to the hospital or anything like that.
I see the doctor's report. Did you take her to the hospital, doctor, or whatever?
I don't remember her going to the hospital.
No, I took myself there, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss Knockhart, after May 8th, you went back to live with him.
He started staying...
Shh.
No.
Are you telling me that between May 8th and June, which is when you said you separated, because you said you separated in June.
Correct.
You didn't live together at all?
I stayed at my mom's a lot more because...
I'm not asking you a lot more. I'm asking you at all, Miss Knockhart.
Not that day or not the next day.
What about the third day?
Yes.
And when you went back the third day, did you share a room together?
No.
Not ever. Between May 8th and June when he...
Yes. Once or twice.
Miss Knockhart,
Yes.
I have no idea what this bill is for. This says that the closing date of the statement is May 8th. The doctor says that he saw you on April 23rd with regard to an assault. I would have assumed that if somebody broke your toes during the course of an assault, you would remember the month and date that it took place.
Yeah.
Well, I would assume that. Listen, are you her mother?
Yes, I am.
She lives by herself?
Yes.
How old is she?
25.
She's probably not old enough to live by herself.
No, she's more than capable. Her
I don't
judgment
think-
and men aren't that good.
Her judgment isn't that good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
If you made 2 babies, it's your responsibility to put money into their households. If you can't afford a car yourself, you don't buy it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Amanda Knockhart says her ex-boyfriend Ethan Jordan beat her up and broke her ribs. She's also suing for a loan and a trip to Las Vegas.
Where are you living now, Mr. Jordan?
I live with my brother.
You pay him rent?
No.
It's not an answer.
No, ma'am, I don't.
Why not?
Because he's my brother. He helped me out of this relationship.
Does your brother work?
He's a doctor.
And you just told me a moment ago that you've been working continuously.
Yes, ma'am. I have 2 jobs myself.
What is it with you that you think that other people are supposed to take care of you?
I don't believe that.
I'm not talking about her. Let's forget her for a second.
Okay.
How old are you?
27.
Grow up. Responsibility. You're supposed to pay your way. You're not supposed to spend all the money that you make on clothes. Sir, do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Listen, Your mother says that you have lousy judgment in men. You better start getting better judgment in men. So far, the only thing he owes you is $559 for the trip to Vegas. That's his expenses, because I think he was reimbursed those expenses and you expected them. I can't figure out whether you were assaulted or when you were assaulted or what it was all about, because you brought no proof of that. So exercise better judgment in the future. That's my decision. Judgment for the plaintiff, $559. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
For her to let me live that long with her, drive her car, you know what I'm saying? She says I beat her up and she didn't make any kind of police report. It speaks for itself.
I think he just used me and he wanted somewhere to stay for free, and now he's found somewhere else to freeload.
The violent, tumultuous relationship, I didn't talk about how fish hook I was beat with, or you know what I'm saying, spoons and whatever that was thrown at me. So I'm just happy that's all done over.
Of course he's got to make me look bad, because look at how he appeared in the courtroom, so.
I wish her the best. I have no hard feelings for her, man. I hope she gets, you know, whatever's coming to her.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pam File versus Childers, step forward, please.
25-year-old nurse's assistant Myva Pamphile is suing the father of her child, 26-year-old construction worker Dell Childers, for a loan. Dell says after the death of their child, Myva kept the insurance money.
Ms. Pamphile, the defendant was your boyfriend. You had 2 children together. Unfortunately, or sadly, I read in your complaint that one of your children died. One of your sons. How old was he when he died?
10 months old.
This case involves an alleged loan. You claim that you lent the defendant a little over $2,000 to purchase a car that needed some repairs. Mr. Childers says you're just being mean. You collected $10,000 when your son died. You didn't share that with him, even though he feels as if he could have asked you to share that with him. He paid a lot of money over the years to you, and there was never any agreement to repay this money. That's your defense, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just curious, was there an insurance policy on your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Who took out that policy?
I did, ma'am.
How much was the funeral for your son?
$5,000.
Tell me about this loan to Mr. Childers.
Dell and I, we've been together off and on since 1996. He moved in January 2004, and he started looking around for a car. He said that he wanted to help me and his other child's mother take care of his kids. So he wanted to get a car.
That's really nice of him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He already owes $30,000 in child support, and I lent him $200 for a down payment so that he could secure the car, and he made arrangements with the owner to come back on the 10th when I could withdraw my money once I got paid again, to give him another $2,100. So that was a total of $2,300. Once he got his car, he started coming in at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, not coming home. So, okay, I kicked him out because it wasn't working. So we waited a while. On the 24th, he kept calling me. He wanted to borrow some money to get an alternator.
How much more money did you give him?
Another $140.71 that I took out of my checking account using my debit card.
She used the word loan.
Just a second.
Those were...
Just shh. Do you owe her any money in child support?
I owe the state of California. I don't owe her. The whole time she had that policy out, the child support out on me, we were living together.
So, excuse me, what you're saying is during all the time that your children were born, the 2 of you were together, were living together?
Most of the time.
What happened when you weren't living with her? Were you sending her money for your boys?
No, but I was working and they were taking money out of my checks.
Do you have any proof of that, sir?
I didn't bring any today. I didn't think we would get that far into it.
How many children do you have?
I have 3.
3 living children. So you had 4.
I have 2 living children. I have 3 altogether.
So you have 2 living children, and now the 2 living children are living in 2 separate homes. You're not living in either one of them. Is that right?
I am living in my youngest child's life right now.
And
he
when
was
did you
cheating on me with her.
Shh. And when did you start to live with that woman?
2 weeks ago.
Mr. Childers, it is difficult enough, sir, to raise a child as a single parent. You're not supposed to make it more difficult. You're not supposed to drain money out of that household. You're supposed to put money into the household. Do you understand?
Yes, and I've done that.
I don't care what you've done in the past, sir. That's what you're supposed to do. You made 2 children with this lady. You know, that's your responsibility.
And it is.
Anything can have children. Fish, frogs, camels, elephants, a lot of things have children. Even those animals take care of their children until they're old enough to be out on their own. All I'm suggesting to you is, if you made 2 babies, it's your responsibility to put money into their households, if you're not living there, in order to help support them. You're not supposed to be a drain on the household, and if you can't afford a car yourself, you don't buy it! You understand each other?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,300. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step.
Banks versus Garcia. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Banks, it is your claim that the defendant had you falsely arrested for assault. This was not the first altercation that you've had with him, but you claim that this time you were tried and ultimately found not guilty after a jury trial. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You want him to compensate you in the amount of $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garcia says that you did, in fact, assault him. He has the injuries to prove it. He is counterclaiming for $5,000 for the assault. So, what created this problem between the two of you? Do you live close by to each other?
5 doors away, ma'am.
And how long have you lived 5 doors away from the defendant?
I've lived in my current residence just under 4 years, ma'am.
What about you, Mr. Garcia? How long have you lived in your current residence?
I've lived there for 9 years.
When did you and Mr. Garcia start to have difficulty, Mr. Banks?
Even May, we had...
May of what year, sir?
2002.
So for a long time you lived there peacefully with Mr. Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's try to find out what the catalyst was in May 2002 that created the problem.
Mr. Garcia drove through the neighborhood, speed limit being 25. He drove approximately 40 miles an hour past my house. Witnesses here were both across the street.
He drove by 40 miles an hour in
On
a
a
car?
motorcycle.
On a motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garcia, when did you get a motorcycle, sir?
About a month before then.
So before you got the motorcycle, everything was just dandy?
Yes.
So would you say, Mr. Garcia, that the problem was precipitated by your motorcycle?
Yes, Your Honor.
See how much progress we're making? Okay, Mr. Banks, let's have the incident that you are referring to today with regard to the false arrest.
That evening, Mr.
Give me
Garcia...
the date.
July 15th, 2002.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Garcia instigated a fight with individuals at a party.
How did he do that?
He drove very close to an individual who was giving the party.
Where did that individual live?
There would be 3 houses from Mr. Garcia.
And he was on his motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
He had a verbal altercation, at which time there was a shoving match, and he got punched in the head, knocked him out. They tried to retrieve his senses, put him back on his motorcycle, and sent him home. When his senses came back, he got upset, continued the fight. The fight resulted in various bruises and injuries that he's got pictures of.
And you took no part in that?
I watched.
How many people were at the party, Mr. Banks?
Approximately 20.
How many men?
I would say half were men.
So 10 men?
Yes, ma'am.
Of the 10 men, how many participated in the beating of Mr. Garcia?
About 5, ma'am.
And you were present at all times?
Yes, ma'am.
Give me the names of the 5.
I can give you 3 who I do not know. Isaac, Daniel, and David.
Did you tell that to the police?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I was accused of being involved in it. It was not my job to do the inquiry as to...
Well, if somebody said to me, I was accused, I would say, listen, I was there, and I wasn't unhappy that this guy was getting beat up because, you know, he was a jerk before, and I did nothing to help him. But it wasn't me who beat him up. I can give you the names of the people who beat him up. Don't take me to jail. I didn't do it. Wouldn't that sound like what a normal person would do?
I did not physically have the altercation with him, and he deserved what he asked for. No, I was not giving him the names.
Now, you were arrested, Mr. Banks. Did you retain a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
I assume that your lawyer made a motion to dismiss the case?
Several times.
And that motion to dismiss was denied?
Yes, ma'am.
What criminal act were you tried on? Assault in what degree?
Assault, bodily injury.
So it was a felony?
No, misdemeanor, Class A, ma'am.
Did Mr. Garcia testify?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he have witnesses who testified also?
No, ma'am.
Did you testify?
No, I did not testify, ma'am.
Did you have witnesses who testified on your
Yes, ma'am.
behalf? Are any of those witnesses here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Which witnesses?
Both, ma'am.
Both were there that
Yes.
evening?
Alan and Anita, yes, ma'am.
Okay, step up, sir. Tell me your last name.
Goodner?
You were there on the evening of the 15th of July?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you saw.
Ches drove by on his motorcycle. I think there was a beer can thrown or something like that.
At him?
At him.
Okay,
Someone
so he
in the
didn't
party.
just go by.
No,
he did.
He tried to run over. I mean, people were in the street, and he did speed by. He turned back around, and he started having words with everybody.
After somebody threw a beer can at him?
No. Well, yes, he did turn around after the beer can, but I'm sure he would turn around anyway.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't anticipate what I'm going to say, Mr. Goodner.
Yes, ma'am.
Just listen very carefully. Put all your thinking caps on.
Yes, ma'am.
And think very carefully about what I'm saying so that you can give me a truthful answer. Because if you don't give me the truthful answer, I will make you look very foolish, and you don't want that
Yes,
in front of
ma'am.
10 million people.
Yes, ma'am.
So he turned around because somebody threw a beer can at him.
Yes, that's correct.
And then what happened?
He got off the motorcycle and approached Isaac and pushed him. Pushed him several times, and Isaac finally had enough of it, and then that's when he hit him. He got knocked out for a few seconds and got back up and proceeded to fight him. And that's when everybody jumped in to get him off of Isaac.
Who's everybody?
Several people.
Name them.
David, Isaac, and Daniel.
What about you?
No, ma'am, I did not. I didn't want to take part in any part of this, because
Well, give me the names of the other people who were there.
I really don't. I know Matt was there. That's about it. Only half of them were my friend.
And what about Mr. Banks? Where was he?
In the driveway, talking to Tanya, a girl
Who's
there.
Tanya?
A girl that lived at the house.
Okay. Just step up.
Sure.
Your name?
Anita Dore.
Are you a neighbor?
Yes, I am.
How long have you lived in the neighborhood?
I have been in the house 3.5 years.
Mr. Garcia's motorcycle, has it presented a problem in the neighborhood?
Oh, yes, it has.
Well, tell me about it.
Well, we have a long stretch in front of our street from stop sign to stop sign, and he zooms by, doesn't stop at the stop sign, and it's always real fast. And I had asked him, to slow down because my children could be in the yard or, playing or in the street, and accidents happen. And
what did he say?
He informed me that if they were in the effing street, then he would effing run over them.
What's wrong with you, Mr. Garcia?
Ma'am, I've never said that. I've never talked to this woman before.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I said, okay, well, how do you know I was speeding? It's a motorcycle. It's loud. I stopped at the stop sign.
You shouldn't be riding a loud motorcycle at 12:30 in the morning, Garcia. You understand?
Ma'am, it's really not that loud, but...
It's that loud.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kenneth Banks says neighbor Ches Garcia had him falsely arrested for assault. Ches says Kenneth beat him up.
Mr. Garcia, you seem to have a problem with your motorcycle. You lived peacefully in a neighborhood for 9 years, no problem with you. Then you bought a motorcycle and all this trouble started, sir.
I haven't ridden a motorcycle since.
Since you got beaten up?
Right.
Well, that's a good idea, Mr. Garcia, and I assume you haven't had problems since. Mr. Banks, let me explain to you, sir, why you have no case. You went to trial in a criminal case. At the end of the case, after Mr. Garcia testified, your lawyer made a motion to dismiss that case, as every good lawyer does. The judge who heard that case said, no, no, no. This case has to proceed to the end because there is sufficient evidence to establish that you were involved in that beating. If your case had been dismissed and the judge said there is no evidence whatsoever linking Mr. Banks to this assault, then you might have been able to proceed civilly against Mr. Garcia. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm not so sure, Mr. Banks, that you weren't involved. You may not have started it. You were certainly happy that it was happening, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Should never be happy when somebody is getting pulverized, sir. The fact that he may have been endangering some people in the neighborhood by reckless driving of this motorcycle does not mean that he deserves to lose his life. Now you may be seated for a moment. Now I'm going to get to your counterclaim, Mr. Garcia. I assume you have some terrible pictures for me to see.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Mr. Banks, so that you'll understand this, he is allowed to proceed against you civilly, even if you were found not guilty by a jury, because the quantum of proof in a criminal case at the end of the whole case is by beyond a reasonable doubt. And the jury found that you were not guilty by beyond a reasonable doubt. They did not find that you were innocent. Quantum of proof here in this case is proof by a preponderance of the evidence, just a little bit of evidence, more so than not. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, please hand Officer Byrd the photographs, and you tell me, sir, your version of what happened, Mr. Garcia, on the 15th of July.
It was around 1 o'clock in the morning. I was coming home from work on my motorcycle. I was slowing down to stop at the stop sign that's in front of the house where the party was going on, and somebody threw a beer can at me. So I turned around and I said, what's the problem? And they started telling me I better get out of there and this and that. And when I looked up, I see Mr. Banks coming from in between two cars in the driveway, and I tell him, don't touch me, don't talk to me. I've got a lawsuit against you right now. And they said, if you talk to me, you'll be arrested. Well, when I said that, he turned his head and he bit me in the nose. At that point, I freaked out and I took off and I turned around, and then I hear somebody yelling, you tried to hit me. I got pushed off of my motorcycle, and me and Isaac started fighting, and the next thing I know, I have 4 people on top of me kicking me in the face. They broke my eye socket. I've got 2 titanium plates in there forever. I can't wear contacts anymore. They broke my nose.
Did you sue the other people?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I haven't had a chance yet.
What do you mean you haven't had a chance yet?
This has been going on for a year. Really, I'm at the point where I just want to be left alone.
Just a second. Mr. Garcia, do you have the police report that you filed?
I didn't actually file it. The police officer wrote it when I was in the hospital, and
How many people were tried for the assault?
Just 1.
Why is that?
I didn't know any other names.
Well, what kind of an investigation was done by the police, sir?
They didn't do anything. They really didn't.
Well, Mr. Garcia, that's outrageous, sir. I mean,
I know.
Here we have Isaac, David, and Daniel. Very easy to figure out. They all have last names. What's Isaac's last name?
That we don't know. If we knew.
David.
No clue.
Daniel.
I have no clue.
Don't believe any of you. Who are you?
Chez's mother.
Were you there that evening, the 15th of July?
I was at home. I didn't witness any of the attack. But the police officer, when we were in the hospital, he said we had to get the names.
Listen to me. That's not your job. The police department is supposed to do the investigation.
Right.
I'm outraged. What country do you live in?
We live in Texas, and this whole thing has just been preposterous.
How old is your son?
My son is 21.
Okay. Who bought him the motorcycle when he was 19?
He bought it himself.
I was actually 20 when I bought it.
Where is it now?
It's sitting in the backyard.
Sell it.
I'm going to. I'm trying.
That's a very good idea.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I opened the door and I grabbed the knife out of the kitchen and I told him to get out of my yard. Well, he runs off down the street and he gets a pistol out of his truck and he comes into my front yard, sticks the gun to my head, walks me all the way into my house.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kenneth Banks says neighbor Chez Garcia had him falsely arrested for assault. Chez says Kenneth beat him up.
You still live close to each other?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can I say something, ma'am?
Sure.
Mr. Garcia says I bit him. If you would look at the photos, you'll see no bite marks on it.
There is no indication in any of the photographs that he was bitten in the nose.
Ma'am, actually, there is a picture of my nose, and I have 2 marks on each side of the nose.
Sir, these 2 marks on this side of your nose could not have been made by a human being.
Well, I mean, he did. He bit me in the nose, and then Alan told me that I was lucky I wasn't killed because he's an ex-Marine.
Oh, I believe that the whole mob scene could have killed you. I'm just absolutely amazed that you didn't pursue these other people.
I tried to my fullest, and the officer wouldn't return our calls. We got a hold of the DA to try to get her to get a hold of him, and it just didn't go through.
I don't know why it didn't go through. But I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Banks. How old are you, sir?
38, ma'am.
Whether or not you participated in this assault, I am appalled that you sat back and watched. I mean, he's 20 years old. 20 years old is a moron. You're double his age. You can have a child his age. You permitted him to be assaulted badly, where they really could have killed him, because you think he deserved it because he was driving his motorcycle too fast.
Ma'am, that was not why I let it go on.
Well, then you tell me, Mr. Banks, why you let it go on.
Prior incident when he lied to the police, I spent a night in jail. At that point, no, I was not going to get involved in.
Another incident that involved an alleged assault?
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
June 6, 2002.
And you were arrested?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to that case?
That was no bail by the grand jury, ma'am.
Were you assaulted on June 6th?
It was actually May 11th. What had happened is I was driving home from down the street. It was about 12:30.
On your motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
12:30 in the morning or at night?
12:30 in the morning. And I hear beating on my door about 10 minutes after I get home. I open the door and I see Mr. Banks And Alan, at my front door, I had never met them before. I walked outside and I said yes, and he said, you're speeding, and I don't appreciate this and that. And I said, who are you? And he says, well, I live over there. And I said, okay, well, how do you know I was speeding? It's a motorcycle, it's loud. I stopped at the stop sign.
You shouldn't be riding a loud motorcycle at 12:30 in the morning, Garcia. You understand?
Ma'am, it's really not that loud. But
It's that
anyway,
loud.
Anyway, he proceeded to push me up against the brick wall, and I smelled the alcohol in his breath. And I said, look, you need to leave or I'm going to call the cops. And he's told me if that's what I better do if I know what's right for me. And he kept pushing me against the wall. And at that point, I opened the door and I grabbed the knife out of the kitchen and I told him to get out of my yard. Well, he runs off down the street and he gets a pistol out of his truck and he comes into my front yard and sticks the gun to my head at the driveway and walks me all the way into my house.
So what happened with that case?
They never contacted me. All I heard was it was no building. They couldn't tell me anything.
The only thing that I have to decide today is whether or not he's responsible for your beating.
Right.
You want to say something else?
Yes, ma'am. On behalf of Ken, do I approach her?
Sure.
Well, that night, whenever the knife got pulled, he pulled it on. He ran after Ken. I stood in front of the knife for Ken. Ken came back, felt I was in danger while his dogs were running after Ken. Ken came back with the gun on behalf of my life.
What did you go over to his house for?
Because it's better than calling the cops. And do a neighborly thing, go over and just talk to him. You know, I'd be mad if someone called the cops on me. Go over and talk to him. It wasn't as violent as it thinks. He flipped out. He came outside running. You could hear him scraggling
What
in
were
the
you
kitchen.
doing with Mr. Banks at 12:30 in the morning?
Hanging out.
Hanging out and drinking?
Yes, ma'am, I was drinking.
Yes. Sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
You have something to contribute to this?
Yes, ma'am. About 3 days ago, I was at my other next-door neighbor's house.
You're his brother?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
And he comes up and tries to talk to me, and I don't really want to have anything to do with him.
Who's he?
Alan. And it boils down to where he was saying that it's real manly for Mr. Banks to pull a gun on my brother, saying that he's lucky, my brother is lucky that he didn't get shot that night.
You think that everybody got a little hot?
Yeah.
I think so, too. I'm absolutely amazed that the district attorney in Texas did not pursue the case against these other people. I'm unimpressed by the fact that an ex-Marine would allow a mob, if I were to believe him, to assault a youngster in his presence. You are under no obligation to stop that mob. But I think to say I'm an ex-Marine is sort of besmirching, in my judgment, that branch of the military. Because I think that your behavior that day, even if you did not participate in this assault, was abominable, Mr. Banks. Understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. You don't have a case against Mr. Banks, Mr. Garcia, because I am not satisfied that aside from looking and gloating over the fact that you were getting the crap kicked out of you, that he actually participated in this assault, and Mr. Banks, you have no case against Mr. Garcia. Because, as I said, the district attorney and the judge presiding over the trial, your trial, for assault, felt that there was sufficient evidence to proceed and give it to a jury. And our justice system does not give you 2 bites of the apple. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. Step out. That's case number 345 on the calendar in the matter of Fletcher versus Manus. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Fletcher, you and the defendant used to date.
Yes, ma'am.
And there came a time when, according to your complaint, the defendant had accused you of being unfaithful.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said to her, it's not true. Here's a blank check. I'm signing it. You take this blank check and go hire yourself a private investigator and investigate me. So far, is that right?
Yes.
So she took the blank check, she filled it out, made it payable to herself for a couple of $1,000s.
Ma'am?
Who did you make it payable to?
He made it payable to me.
Oh.
He put my name in it.
Fine. You just filled in the amount.
Yes, ma'am.
Then things didn't go well. She accused you of stalking her. You were arrested, had to hire a lawyer. Those charges were subsequently dismissed. So you want the $2,000 back from the check and the attorney's fees.
That's correct.
Ms. Main says she cashed that check and wrote in $2,000 because she had to be taught a lesson not to be such an idiot. I mean, she doesn't say that, but that's about what she said. And that she had a grounds to file a complaint for stalking because you were, in fact, stalking her and making her very uncomfortable. Was he stalking you because he wanted his money back?
He never asked for the money back, Your Honor.
Never?
No.
When, for the first time, did he ask for the money back?
I received a
let's say,
a letter
let's start
at
from the
work.
beginning. When did he give you the check?
It was end of April, first part of May.
Can I see a copy of the check, please?
Yes, ma'am. I put together this, and it's got an index with all the
Listen
things, or
to
do you
me.
just want that?
Listen to me. I'm not as young as I used to be.
Okay.
Just give me a copy of the check.
There's some other stuff stapled to it.
April 6th. But that's the date on the check. And it was cashed?
In the upper right-hand corner there, it's the 8th of April, is when it actually transpired through the bank.
2 days later. Didn't waste any time.
No.
What'd you do with all the money?
I paid a bill of my daughter's,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about it.
Okay, then I have here some emails. You were hell-bent to give me these things anyway. This one is dated Thursday, April 8th, 9:14 a.m. From you. No, David, I'm not going to hire a PI with your money, but I'm going to hold on to your money for a couple of months so you can sweat a little. That should be long enough to teach you a lesson on giving someone a blank check. By the way, I cashed it for $2,000, and you did have money in the account. You're lucky I didn't cash it for $10,000 like someone suggested. You lied to me about how much money was in your account, so you must not trust me. I hate liars, and once I'm lied to, I have a hard time believing anything that a person says to me in the future. How much after that did you break up with him?
We were broke up.
2 days later after he gave you the check?
Prior to the check.
You're not a nice person.
Maybe not.
Well, you're right. Well, I'm glad if somebody knows themselves. That's the first step to self-healing. I mean, you took advantage of him.
I don't feel that I did, Your Honor.
You don't feel as if you took advantage of him. He gave you this check for what reason? He gave you the check. He said, I haven't been doing the wrong thing. I have been doing the right thing. Here, take this. You should have taken it, ripped it in 10 pieces and say, listen, David, it's over. I'm not interested in you. Instead, you took the check. You cashed the check. You went and bought yourself something. You paid a bill for your daughter. And then, after you told me, I'm going to hold on to the money for a couple of months. That's what you said to him. So far, you owe him $2,000.
Excuse me?
So far, you owe him $2,000 because you said you were going to give it back to him. That's what you said in the email. That's your email. That's what you said. You said, I'm going
to me?
I don't care what he wrote to you. You told him that I'm going to hold on to it long enough to teach you a lesson. Did you learn your lesson?
Yes, ma'am, unfortunately.
Now, can I see when you filed stalking charges against him? Did you continue to send her letters and emails and flowers?
Well, what I'd like to do is present my evidence on this, if I could.
Listen to
While
me.
we were dating, I did.
Listen to me.
When we were
Listen to me. Watch me. After she cashed this check, did you send her flowers?
The last flowers I sent her was the first or second week of April. After the check, we were broke up for like a week. We got back together, and I have emails that she has communicated with me.
When you say you got back together, did you take her out for dinner?
We went out to dinner, and I have my business partner here that came over to Gold Beach, and she'd actually went out to dinner with us.
After April 8th?
After, yes.
Okay. Now, when did you tell him that you didn't want him calling you anymore?
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
It was May 19th, and I have the last email correspondence that I actually had with her.
Can I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am. This was the last correspondence. That's when she told me that she had a boyfriend and I was cramping her style, evidently.
I don't say
May
cramping
19th.
style.
And from that point on, I had no more contact with her other than after I got served with a stalking order, which I got served. That was May 19th. When I had a hospital appointment, I had to have some surgery done at the hospital there. She works there, and bumped into me. And after I got done with my surgery and I got home, the next thing I know, I'm getting served with a stalking order. And that was, I hadn't saw her for almost a month.
How come you never told the police that you ripped him off for $2,000? I don't see that anywhere here.
Your Honor, I didn't rip him off for
Yes, you did.
$2,000. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, you did.
Okay.
Oh, you did.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How come you didn't say to yourself, maybe if I give him back the $2,000 that I took from him, maybe he would leave me alone? What are you looking at me? Am I speaking a foreign language to you?
And later today,
Would you describe the dog when you went there?
She was bleeding really bad from her mouth, and when I tried to move her lips to see what was wrong, it was like a seizure. Like she started turning her head around real bad.
How did this happen to his dog?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. David Fletcher claims ex-girlfriend Brenda Manus owes for illegally cashing a check and for falsely accusing him of stalking.
Now, he didn't make you a gift, he didn't make you a loan. It was clear that he was trying to be a boyfriend and gave you this check. And initially, put your hand down. Initially, what you said was, 2 days after you cashed the check was, I'm just going to hold on to it for a couple of months to teach you a lesson not to be a fool and give somebody a blank check. Somewhere along the line, you changed your mind after you spent the money. So my question to you is, how come you didn't tell the police when you filed these charges against him, not for threatening you in any way, just he sent you emails, he sent you flowers, then he called you. How come you didn't say anywhere in any of these statements that I took $2,000 from his bank account? You didn't think that was relevant?
Nope.
No. And how come you didn't, if you thought that he was stalking you, how come you didn't say to yourself, maybe if I give him back the $2,000 that I took from him and made a fool out of him, maybe he would leave me alone and wouldn't bother me. And here's the $2,000, because he says to you in an email, why don't you just give me back my $2,000? I'll leave a deposit slip for you. What are you looking at me? Am I speaking a foreign language to you?
I would like to see that. I don't recall
Sure.
that.
Sure.
Thank you.
How much was your lawyer?
$712.
$712, did you say?
Yeah.
Refresh your recollection now? When he says, I'll leave you a deposit slip, please put my money back in my account. When did you do that, Miss Maines?
When did I put the money back in his account?
Yeah.
I did not.
And if somebody was stalking me, if someone was following me around, if someone was coming to my place of business, I would say, gee, I want to remove any irritant that might exist with that person because they feel like a fool. Not a nice person. You were right at the beginning. First statement was right. You are not. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,712. You don't abuse the courts by filing stalking petitions when you've done the wrong thing. Goodbye.
Why is that excuse? You may step out.
He's mad because I filed the stalking order on him.
No, there was no stalking.
He emailed me constantly. I blocked his email.
Only part of the hateful part was the part that she told me when she had a boyfriend.
Called 2 and 3 times a week.
I emailed her back and I told her what I thought of her leading me on like that.
He would not leave me alone.
She basically wrote the check for more than she was supposed to.
He gave it to me.
It was supposed to be paid back. It wasn't paid back.
Was never asked to be returned.
There'll be no more blank checks.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fisk versus Billy, step forward, please.
18-year-old cashier Francis Fisk is suing his former friend, construction worker Diane Billy, for injuries his pit bull received while in Diane's care. Diane is countersuing for unpaid dog-sitting fees.
According to what I read, you have a dog. What kind of a dog is it?
She's a pit bull mix.
And for some reason, you were moving, whatever, you couldn't take the dog with you, so you asked the defendant if she would be willing to take care of your dog for a while.
Yes, there was agreement set up between her and my girlfriend's father, and she's a friend of his. And,
Yes.
He asked her if she'd keep the dog. She said, yeah, it's not a problem. She lives out in the country as long as we supplied her food.
The agreement was not with you, it was with your girlfriend's father.
That's right.
Okay. And how long was she supposed to mind the dog for?
We didn't really have a set time. It was just until we found a new place to live,
So anywhere from a day to 10 years.
basically. Just until we found a spot to live.
According to your complaint, when you got the dog back, someone had severely beaten the dog
Yes, that's right.
and had severe head trauma. You want Miss Billy to take care of the vet bills.
Yes.
That's what the case is about. And Miss Billy says she doesn't know what happened to the dog. She certainly didn't beat the dog. And you owe her for food and for boarding the dog. So that's your counterclaim.
Yes.
When did she take possession of your dog?
It was towards the end of August.
How old is this dog?
13 months.
How long had you had her?
Like 10 months.
From the time she was a puppy. Now, did you go to visit regularly?
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 times a week.
And did you bring the food as you promised you would?
Yes.
All the time?
We left a bag over there so she could feed the dog when we weren't there. But every time we went over there, my dog's food bowl was empty, her water bowl was dry.
If that happened every time, Mr. Fisk, why didn't you remove the dog from her care?
Because I had no place else to take her.
Why didn't you allow her to be adopted by somebody else?
Nobody wants a pit bull.
Well, you wanted a pit bull.
That's right.
I had another case not long ago with people who had a pit bull. So evidently a lot of people had a pit bull. That's not a smart thing to do.
It was hard. I mean, it was...
What efforts did you make to try to find somebody else to take the dog?
Everything I could. I talked to my mother, her friends, everybody I knew, and I couldn't find a place.
Did you put an ad in the paper?
No.
For a 10-month-old pit bull?
No.
Friendly?
No, I didn't put any ads in the paper.
When did you find the dog injured?
I got a call on October 15th at about 10:30 saying, your dog is sick, I don't know what's wrong with her, you need to come get her. I couldn't go, I had to go to work, so I got in contact with my girlfriend at school. She came home, her and her stepmother went and got the dog and took her to the vet.
When did you see the dog?
When I picked her up from the vet's office after I got off work.
Step up. Tell me your name.
Justine Price.
Miss Price, would you describe the dog when you went there?
Well, she was usually kept in a kennel, and she was in their breezeway inside of a cardboard box. She was bleeding really bad from her mouth, and when I tried to, like, move her lips to see what was wrong, I don't know, it was like a seizure. Like, she started turning her head around real bad, so we took her to the vet.
You have a report from the vet?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
Do you just want all the evidence?
No, I want the report from the vet. The dog had a broken jaw as a result of trauma. They wired her jaw. How did this happen to his dog?
I don't know.
Who lives in your house?
I have roommates that live there. Matt was there.
Who's Matt? How is he related to you?
He's not. He's a good friend of mine. I work with him.
Was Matt at home when this happened?
We don't know what happened. The dog was loose for 2 days, and I called to let them know that the dog was loose for 2 days. And
when was the dog loose? What, 2 days?
2 days before, the Friday that I fed the dog, it came back that Thursday. She got loose on Wednesday, and she was gone for 2 days.
And then she came back?
And she came back. I tied her up. It was dark out. I tied her up. I didn't think that anything was wrong with her. She didn't act, you know. And then the next morning when I went to go feed her, that's when her head was sideways and she looked sick, so I called Frankie to let him know that their dog was sick and they'd take it to the vet. And he said he had to go to work. They never
You know what happened to the dog?
I have no idea.
What?
He's the one that's accused of hitting my dog. But I couldn't do anything about it because I couldn't prove it.
Well, what makes you think he hit your dog?
Because the person that spoke to her and spoke to us told us the whole story. I mean, I wasn't there. I can't say that's what happened. But I heard the same story from two people that both associate with Diane. They both go over there and party and get drunk and whatnot. They both associate with her. And they both told me that he's the one that hit my dog.
Oh, somebody hit your dog. What do you do for a living?
Work construction, concrete.
How old are you?
18.
Did you have a party over there on October 14th?
Yeah.
I don't hear you.
It
Yeah is not an answer. Yes is an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
How many people were at the party?
Just a couple people. It was
A couple is two.
all right, like 5 or 6.
Now, I want you to list the 5 or 6 people that were at the house. I want you to make sure you list them all right.
Sean, Becca, Dusty, me, Diane, and Marky.
And what was the drink of choice that evening?
Bud Light.
Anything other than Bud Light?
No, ma'am.
Where was Miss Bealey?
Oh, she was there. I'm sorry.
You playing any games that evening, sir?
No, ma'am.
Where was the dog?
Outside.
Tied up?
Yeah, it should have been.
Is the dog making noise?
It barked.
How many times did the dog bark?
I don't know.
Did you go out to see?
Dogs bark. They were both barking.
So between the time you had this party on the 14th and the 15th, something happened to the dog. What do you think that was?
I have no idea.
I don't either. All right, let's take care of this. You are responsible for the vet bills, madam. When you assume a responsibility, even if you assume a gratuitous responsibility, you have an obligation to see to it that no harm happens to this dog. We understand each other? And if you've got 5 or 6 teenagers, either chronologically or mentally, drinking beer in your house, and something happens to this dog, that's your fault. Now, these are prospective vet bills. It may work, the jaw wiring may work, and may not work. We
When I spoke to my vet, she's had some problems breathing. And when I spoke to him, he said there's more than like a 90% chance she's going to have the major surgery.
Probably. Well, in any event, this dog has suffered substantially. Your claim is for $1,000, which, as far as I'm concerned, is most reasonable considering the vet bills that you had and the prospective vet bills. And I'm giving you these vet bills because I believe that they're responsible for what happened to your dog. Either they or some of the other drunken people that were at her house on the 14th of October. But I have pets. I love them. And if I left them someplace and went over to see them and there was no food and no water, that may happen once. But you said you never saw food and water in the bowl.
It was hard.
Then you don't tell me it was hard. It's your fault. Better off to take a dog to the Humane Society and let them look for another home for the dog rather than to let the dog stay there and be without food and water so that it runs away and to have its head used as a golf ball. You're not supposed to be an idiot even though you're 18. We understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all.
Valerio versus Hall.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Miss Valerio, at a time when you and the defendant were boyfriend and girlfriend, you decided to live together. You took a lease on an apartment, according to you, for a year. There was a problem with that living arrangement. The defendant was taken into custody for some act of domestic violence. You ultimately had a restraining order against him. Is that right?
That's true.
And what you want is for him to pay the remainder of the lease when he was no longer living in the apartment after the restraining order, and some other nonsensy stuff. But mostly it's the money for the lease. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
When did you move in?
September of 2000.
And how long did you actually live together?
Till December 9th of 2000.
Was it on the 9th of December that he was taken into custody?
Yes.
Who called the police?
Actually, he called the police first and hung up on them, and I called the police from a neighbor's house.
So you called the police first?
I did, yes.
Were those charges ultimately dropped?
Yes, they were.
Did you consent to a protective order, or was there a trial?
No, it was just dropped. Everything was just dropped.
Not the restraining order was not dropped.
Exactly.
That's what I asked you, sir. She has a restraining order against you. Did you consent to that restraining order, or was there a trial with regard to her?
There's no trial. I consent to it.
So as part of the restraining order, you knew that you would not be able to live in the house?
Correct.
And that's what you wanted?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you pay rent in December?
I had given her cash in December.
Did he pay rent for December?
He gave me $265, which was half of all the utilities from December and January.
Did he pay rent in November?
Yes.
Why do you think he should be responsible for the remainder of the lease?
He signed a lease for a year. It's not my fault that he got kicked out. It's not my fault that he made a mistake and can no longer live there. In order to get out of the lease, he has to pay a month in advance plus a half a month, but that entails me moving. I don't think I should have to move and pack up my stuff just because he can no longer live there.
Well, Miss Valerio, according to Mr. Hall, he offered to pay the month and a half's rent to move out, but you would not have accepted that anyway.
That was never brought to my attention. He's been talking to the leasing agents, and they told him that they wouldn't allow it.
No, I thought that that was permitted in your lease.
Well, it is, but they're not allowing it because I have to move out, and they don't feel that I should have to move out, and neither do they.
You're not going to get your money. This was an error in judgment on both of your parts to move in together. It lasted a relatively short period of time. He is precluded from living in your home. He consented to a protective order. If you have the ability to minimize your losses, even though that involves you moving, you can't expect him to support you. You're not married to each other. And certainly he should have paid December's rent because you were living there up till December 9th. Is that right?
Yes, I was, which I did.
You have proof that you paid December's
No,
rent?
unfortunately, I did not ask her for a receipt.
Did you always pay her in cash?
No, just the last 2 months because I had a restraining order against me, so...
I'm not talking... When did you have a restraining order?
The whole time we lived there, he never paid rent. I paid rent. He didn't even have a job half the time he lived there.
I have receipts.
Well, show me your receipts.
Deposit, first month's rent.
He paid a security deposit of $100. I paid for groceries. I paid for food.
I'm not talking groceries and food. We're talking now rent.
I'm talking all bills.
No,
I have the receipts for everything.
I'm talking rent.
I have the receipts for everything.
Every Valerio, I want you to listen to me. I've said this before. I don't know whether you've heard it before. When two people decide to live together without benefit of marriage, there are different set of rules than when you're married. I don't choose to waste my time in going through your grocery bills and seeing who was supposed to pay for what box of Rice Krispies.
Actually, I was speaking about rent because
Well,
there's
that's all I'm speaking about. You
Yeah.
said I have all these bills. I have grocery bills and
He has-
cable bills and all the other bills, and I don't intend to do that. The crux of your case is about a lease to which he obligated himself, and to which he was prepared to sign off, pay the month's rent, get off the lease, but it would involve you moving. And you said, I'm not moving.
I was never asked.
Just a minute. Yeah, it came up. I want to tell you something. It came up, Miss Valeria, because you were too quick to say, I don't think that I should have to move because of his actions.
No, I heard that from the leasing agent. That's the only person I heard it from. I never heard by
just a
letter,
second.
by nobody.
If you heard it from the leasing agent, then the leasing agent said to you, he came in trying to sign off on the lease. You mean it just came up? You said, how are you, leasing agent? Good morning.
When I went
and the leasing agent said to you, you shouldn't have to move because of something he did. Is that how it came up?
No.
All right. You know, don't give me...
Oh, I know.
Smart. All right. I see September. What about October, sir?
October, November, they were all paid.
Show me. You have checks here.
I don't have the checks for October, November.
Why not?
You didn't pay them.
I did pay them.
Shh. Don't talk to her.
All right. The checks that I wrote out, I don't get actually copies back. Those checks there you see are from a relative of mine that wrote them out for me at the time because I had no checking account. So their bank sends back their checks. The bank that I currently use does not send back my checks.
Fine, just show me a statement.
Again, I don't have that.
Well, where'd you think you were coming today? To a dance? If you don't have the checks, then you have a bank statement. The bank statement shows what checks were paid.
I don't have it. Rent was paid on time every month.
Well, but the question is, did you pay your part of the rent? She says you paid some, but not all.
Well, we're roommates, so of course I did.
He didn't have a job.
Let me see your checks for October, November, and December.
There's,
You don't want this, do you?
What is that?
It's her
yeah, it's my
ledger.
checking account that shows.
It's her ledger.
I don't want your ledger. I want bank statements. You have a bank statement? Do you get your checks back?
No, but in the actual ledger, it tells that I pay Coachman Crossing. I mean, when you sign your check, there's like a backing
All right,
to
let me
it that
see.
copies it.
She's very organized, so.
You actually don't get a receipt from them.
I'm not talking about a receipt, madam. I'm talking about a bank statement.
I didn't bring bank statements because when you sign a check, it has a carbon copy. So I could actually show you my checking account, but those are copies of it.
Let me explain something to you. When you write out a check, there's a carbon underneath.
Exactly.
You can write out a check, rip it up into little teeny pieces, and throw it in the garbage. And guess what you still have? The carbon. Right?
I do have the carbon, but
Just
I
a second.
with me.
Hello? Didn't you understand what I just said?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Eileen Valerio says former live-in boyfriend Roger Hall owes her for breaking an apartment lease and the money she paid for car insurance. Roger says Eileen won't return his stereo equipment.
So you don't have your checks for October, November, and December either?
They should be all there. But
This is not here, madam. This is your ledger. This is your ledger. This is what you write out. This has nothing to do with a bank.
Your Honor, I use starter checks.
What?
I use starter checks.
Starter checks?
Correct.
Where are they?
I already used them.
You people deserve each other. I swear to you people actually deserve each other. Are you still living in the apartment?
Yes. The lease is going to be up in August.
Are you planning on staying there? Do you have a roommate?
No.
You live there all by yourself? And you're enjoying it?
Absolutely.
Pay for it. Now, let's get to next. Monies to purchase a car is what you have here.
What happened is when we moved to Florida, he had a car and he didn't have a license. So I put his car under my name for insurance and signed up for a policy for a year. We agreed that we would use the same vehicle for a year. And he took the car, so now I don't have a car.
So you want him to pay for a car? That's what you say, monies to purchase a car.
Well,
and taxi transportation.
Taxi transportation is what I've been...
So
it
you want him
averages
to
out
pay-
to about $200 a month. That's a big expense. And I already paid the premium of the insurance policy. So I'm driving nothing and paid something.
Did you pay for... You have one point that I will give you. If you paid for the insurance and he's driving the car, he should reimburse you for the insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Insurance is canceled. It's done.
It's over?
It's over with. It's
I
been
already
over with.
paid the premium. $626.
For how... Well...
There's no way.
Just a second. When did you cancel the insurance?
Months ago.
No, last month. He took the car, so I canceled the insurance because I don't...
Oh, he took the car, you canceled the insurance. What are you bothering me for?
Because I paid the premium already. I paid a year's worth of insurance.
Then they will reimburse it to you. What's next? And he's not paying for your taxi cab bills. What else?
I'm without a vehicle, so I don't get reimbursed for that?
No.
It's my vehicle.
Do I look like I need help from you? Huh?
No.
Miss Valerio, you tried a situation, it didn't work out, cost you a couple of bucks. What are you bothering me for? Let's get to your counterclaim, which is equally nonsense. Now, you say that she has of yours, sir, some property.
Correct.
And you also say that she damaged the car that she was driving around in, which
Correct.
is your car that no longer has insurance.
Correct.
All right, let's start with the damaged car. When did she damage your car? When she was driving it?
When I picked the car up and drove it out of the parking lot.
You mean after you separated?
After we separated, I had to escort.
Yes,
Officer
you
Pease.
picked the car up and you drove it out of the parking lot. What happened?
Well, I drove it home and started smoking real bad.
It started smoking?
Correct.
So?
Reason why? Because there was no oil in the car.
Yes.
So it caused damage internally.
Why don't you put oil in the car?
Well, I did, but damage was already done.
Why didn't you put oil in the car before? You think that she sucked out the oil from the engine?
Before when?
Just a second. You think that she sucked out the oil from the engine to spite you?
Whether she's saving it or not, I don't know.
Well, I don't know either, so what are you bothering me for? It's your car, make sure it's got oil. Next. What's next? What's next?
You tell me. That's you're next.
Good. VCR, stereo, and permanent scar.
Correct.
As you see, this is not the case of the century.
No.
And I don't take it really seriously. All right. Do you have his TV first?
No.
Do you have a TV?
Yes.
Where did you get it from?
I bought it when I was 20 years old with my tax returns.
And that's the only TV that you have?
Yes.
And what about the TV that you're talking about?
It's a 13-inch TV, Emerson. Color TV, remote control.
Where was that? Do you have any idea?
I believe it was in a box that he took from the apartment.
But you don't have it?
No.
All right. Do you have his VCR?
No.
Do you have a VCR?
No. Yeah, well, yes, mine.
Two of them.
Both mine.
You have two VCRs?
Mm-hmm. I have one in the bedroom and one in the living room.
One belongs to me.
How did you get it?
I bought it.
When?
95.
In 1995?
Correct. Receipts, manuals.
Oh, perfect. Good. He gets one VCR back, madam. One VCR for the defendant. And if you want to watch a movie, go in another room. What about stereo and speakers? Do you have that of his?
When actually he left the apartment after he had been arrested, we had a phone conversation, which my witness here actually heard, that when he moved out, like the clothes he has on right now, I bought. Everything in the apartment I bought. He told me that because he was moving into his parents' home, he would have no room for it, and whatever was left there that he didn't take, I could have as payment to put towards anything else because he was buying something new.
Did you say that to her, Mr. Hall?
No, I did not.
He actually heard the conversation.
I would never give up my stereo.
Your name, please.
Ray Marsh, Your Honor.
How do you know the plaintiff and the defendant?
We're best friends, and we used to be roommates, actually.
You and the defendant?
All three of
All
us
three
used to
of
be
us.
roommates in New York.
Did you hear a conversation about any of the stereo equipment or anything else?
Yeah, and the conversation that I had overheard.
Overheard it in person or on the phone?
On the phone.
Were you standing next to the phone or you want an extension?
It was on a three-way conversation.
Go ahead, let me hear.
Mr. Hall and Ms. Lair were conversing about this, and he had said that she could have the stereo equipment because he was going to be able to move into an apartment right away. He may have to move back in with his parents, and that she could have the equipment because he felt that was payment back for all the things that she had gotten him.
Did you have that conversation?
I had a conversation where I told her that I would leave it there for the time being because I had no place to put it. But when I come pick up all my stuff, I'm getting all of it at one time.
Okay. Let's get to the permanent scar left on my face by Eileen.
Scar on my face.
From what?
From her hitting me with a metal object.
When was that?
That's when I called the police. And I was arrested because I was the aggressor, they said. Charges were dropped.
Do you have any medical report?
No.
Do you have any pictures?
It's scared, it's scarred.
Do you have any photographs of the incident?
Actually, she does.
Could I see them, please?
I have a From the injunction, he admits to doing everything.
Well, he clearly has some marks on his face. He's
Mhm,
clearly
yeah, you
scratched
should-
him up real good.
There's
or
pictures of me in
hit him
there
up
as well.
real good. And I see your pictures here.
I didn't hit him with a metal object, actually. It was my nails.
It looks like nails to me.
Yeah.
Looks like you really went after each other that night.
Actually, I didn't. He punched me, and I was just trying to get him away from me. And my nails actually broke against the wall when he pushed me against the wall. And that's how he got the scratches on his face.
I restrained her, Your Honor.
You were what?
Restrained her. I pushed her away from me. It's just the pictures. There's red marks. That's from restraining.
I
from,
see it.
In this statement right here in court, he admits to doing everything. If you would like to
I'd
take a
like
look
to
at
see it.
that. He admitted himself into a 26-week course for domestic violence, and he actually overheard another conversation.
That was court ordered. He didn't admit
Thank you.
himself.
Well, actually, he admits in there that he wanted to do it himself, and then he overheard another conversation where he wanted to admit himself into a mental institution.
Miss Valerio, let me ask you this question, madam. Do you think he has... Put the rubber band down. You think he... Put the rubber band down. You think he has mental problems?
I think he has psychological problems that stem from childhood, yes.
Fine. If you think he has psychological problems, why in the world would an intelligent person want to keep property like his stereo equipment that it appears that he now wants? Even if he once said to you, in the heat of a moment, you can keep all that stuff, I don't want it. Now he wants his stereo stuff back. Why wouldn't a smart person say, I'm glad I got away, I don't have any broken bones, I don't have a child with him, there's nothing to keep us together. The only thing that's going to be a bee in his bonnet is his stereo equipment.
He could have taken it.
But now he wants it. I'm just talking about being smart. I'm not talking about you having to return it. I'm talking about being smart. So far you did a lot of things that weren't smart. It would be smart to cut your ties with him. Right?
Sure.
Good. You can pick up your stereo equipment, sir, along with the one VCR. I believe that you probably at some point said in the heat of the moment, I don't care, you can keep all that stuff. Yeah. But I do believe it's smarter on her part to give it back to you. We got each other? Good. That's all. That resolves this case. You have no case. He has no case, but he's getting a VCR and a stereo. Goodbye, have nothing to do with each other. According to this, you sent him balloons on his birthday, Miss Valeria?
Yeah.
Well, that's even dumber than dumb.
When someone has a problem,
Your
we
Honor.
just want
That's even dumber than dumb.
Your Honor.
Because that sends out mixed messages to him.
True.
Forget about your scar.
He was supposed to. He was actually supposed to get help, and he now.
Miss Valerio,
didn't get it.
pay careful attention to me.
I know.
It sends out mixed messages, madam.
It wasn't just from me. It was from all of us.
What do you want?
This is a copy of a returned check that Miss Valerio had forged my name.
There's nothing about, in your countersuit, anything about a forged check.
Actually, this is just brought to my attention recently.
Say goodbye.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Sanquist, Ms. Perez and you were friends at one time.
Yes.
And you agreed to babysit for her children while she was working.
Yes.
According to you, the arrangement was you were going to get paid, and then you would fill out some paperwork because she was entitled to child care from the state.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would accept the money that she got from the state for babysitting. Was that your agreement?
No, we had agreement, and when I first began babysitting, that when she receives her income tax, she will pay me. So I will watch them for $45 a day for 3 days a week, and that she will pay me when she gets her money from income tax.
When did you start to babysit for her?
In the month of December of last year.
And how many children do you have?
3, ma'am.
What kind of work were you doing in December of 2003?
I'm working at Dunkin' Donuts, though. Same job I've been working at for 3 years.
So you were working for Dunkin' Donuts.
Mm-hmm.
And how much were you earning there?
$7.10 an hour, ma'am.
You get paid every week or every 2 weeks?
Weekly.
How much is your net check every week?
Like $140.
Do you get any public assistance for the children in addition to the $140?
Yes, I receive food stamps from the state.
What other money do you get?
That's a child support for my son.
How much do you get in child support?
$93, ma'am.
A what?
A week.
How old are your children?
My oldest is 11, my middle one is 7, and my smallest one is 2.
Okay. And what do you do for a living, Miss Ang?
I'm a student.
Full-time student? Were you a full-time?
No, part-time. Of course, I didn't register for school because I was depending on the income I was supposedly earning from watching the kids.
Is what you're telling me that you don't do anything right now? It's not an answer.
Like that. I do have a disability, so I don't do too much, but I am focusing on school.
When you start, you'll focus. Right now, you're not focusing.
When I start and I don't have to worry about trying to find a job, right?
Ms. Sanquist, how long had you and Ms. Perez been friends?
We've been friends on and off for 10 years.
Is she telling me the truth when she says she works at Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes, she is telling you the truth.
And she, I believe, is telling me the truth when she says she earns $7 an hour.
Yes.
And that her take-home pay is $140 a week.
Yes.
And how many days a week were you supposed to watch her children?
3 days a week. That's
Just
when
a
she
second.
works.
3 days a week. So you expected her to pay you $135 a week.
Yes, I did.
Which means she would go to work for Dunkin' Donuts for $5 a week.
If I can...
No, just a second. I'm doing the math. The math is simple. She comes home with $140 a week, and she was supposed to pay you $135 a week for taking care of her children. That's the math.
That's the math. Can I comment?
Sure.
Erica's working, like she said, 3 years there, part-time. She works there because it's mandatory from the state in order for her to get medical and food stamps benefits. She doesn't have expenses. She doesn't pay rent. Her father owns the house she lives in. She doesn't have any bills. We had an agreement, and she has the funds to pay for it. She has boyfriends that have money that support her, too. She has the money to make the agreement, and that's what happened.
Ms. Sanquist, Ms. Perez says that she was going to apply to the state, which does provide child care expenses for people who have low income, and that you did, in fact, fill out the paperwork.
Yes.
When did you fill out the paperwork?
We started the process around April or May.
When?
Your Honor, we started in July. I got papers.
July of what year?
Of 2004.
Well, she was babysitting for you from December until July.
Jessica's been babysitting my son, Your Honor, not all 3 kids. My son only since May of 2004.
Really?
Yes. I would never agree on paying a babysitter $135 a week when I only make a little chunk change.
Sounds
was
ridiculous.
never an agreement. No
Sounds
agreement.
ridiculous. Can I see the paperwork that you started to fill out?
And it's not my signature either. She forged my signature in it too, Your Honor. That's when it started, Your Honor.
Did you fill out these papers?
Yes.
Okay.
Could I say another thing, Your Honor?
Shh. Which child do you receive support for?
Cyrus, my son.
And Emily?
Emily and Melanie, I don't receive nothing for.
Well, they told you that in order for you to receive money, you have to at least apply for child support from the father of the other 2 children. Otherwise, they're not going to give you money through this program, Care for Kids.
He's in jail for murder.
Is that Emily's father?
No, that's Melanie's dad.
That's Melanie's father. What about Emily's father?
Emily's dad, child support's looking for him right now. He got issues in court.
And a warrant for
and
his
he got
arrest.
a warrant out for his arrest
For
through
domestic
child support.
violence.
Okay.
How you know?
Okay. I know. How much money, if any, Ms. Perez, did you receive from Care for Kids?
I don't receive no money from Care for Kids, ma'am.
Did you ever receive any
None.
money?
It goes under her name. The check comes under Jessica's name.
How much money, if any, did you receive from them?
Zero. Nothing.
Zero. Well, why
Can I comment?
Yeah, sure.
I didn't receive anything from Care for Kids because every time we applied, we were denied. Well, every time she applied, she was denied because of lack of information that she was supposed to provide, because of missing deadlines. They have deadlines. You miss it, they deny you. She was adamant about saying no, that we didn't start in January, February, March. In April and May, in the process of Care for Kids, we did start. The person I spoke to at 5/11/04 at 11:40 a.m. was Ingrid, and I have a list of names of people that I've been in contact with from this company.
Listen to me, all I have here is notification from the state that the application was received on July 9th, 2004. I don't have anything else. Listen to me. Do you have any proof that an application was submitted before that?
No, but I requested information, and they said they wouldn't give it to me, they would give it to her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She fought my sister in front of all the kids.
So you had a fight with a sister over somebody's ex-boyfriend, a story that, believe me, at this hour, I am totally disinterested in.
And later today...
While I may give you the car, I'm not going to give you the car and pay for your insurance, too. because that would be stupid.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jenny Zenquist says former friend Erica Perez owes for babysitting fees. Erica says Jenny incorrectly filled out the application for state aid.
Listen to me, madam. I do not believe you that you had an agreement with her to pay you $135 a week when all she earns is $140 a week. That just doesn't make sense. Nobody in their right mind is going to work for $5 a week and pay you $135 a week. What makes sense is that the two of you agreed that you would apply for this program and you would get the money from this program. She would turn it over to you and she would work. And the papers weren't filled out right, and then you had a fight. You had a fight because you had a fight over somebody's ex-boyfriend. I don't know whose ex-boyfriend. Whose was it?
Your Honor, she fought my sister in front of all the kids.
So you had a fight with her sister, and therefore all bets were off. That's what she says, that you had a fight with her sister over somebody's ex-boyfriend. A story that, believe me, at this hour, I am totally disinterested in. I am totally disinterested in the story of the fight that you had with her sister. As far as I'm concerned, when two ladies... What are you looking at me? It's such a ridiculous look on your face. I'm disinterested when ladies fight with each other. I think it's very unseemly. The only thing that I have to determine is whether I believe she made an arrangement to pay you her entire salary check. And I don't believe she did, so your case is dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Jessica's man now used to go out with my sister 5 years ago, so she got a grudge against my sister.
As far as the fight being over my boyfriend, it wasn't even about that.
She got him now. She's so insecure. She should be happy she got him now, though.
The guy has my name, Jessica, tattooed on his neck.
They make a perfect team together, both of them.
Show me the money.
She got what she deserves. She's crazy. She's crazy. Everybody in Bridgeport knows she's crazy. She crazy.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Denton versus Clevenger, step forward, please.
Computer analyst Julia Denton is suing her sister-in-law, student Patricia Clevenger, for the cost of a '96 Toyota RAV4. Julia says Patricia's husband totaled the vehicle.
Mrs. Denton, is this your brother?
Yes.
And this is your sister-in-law?
Yes.
According to your complaint, several years ago, your husband passed away.
Yes.
You say it was in 2001.
That's correct.
When he passed away, one of the things he had was an automobile that was in his name. You had a car, and you agreed to, at that time, let your brother and your sister-in-law use that car.
Correct.
Until the estate was settled, and with the understanding that when it was settled, you would sell them the car. Was that your agreement?
Well, we actually didn't make that agreement. When I loaned them the car to begin with, we didn't make that agreement. It took a long time for the estate to be settled. It wasn't settled until the end of May of 2004. As it got closer to that date, then we started talking about selling them the car. That was my intention, to either sell it to another party or sell it to them if they were still interested in buying it.
Once the estate was settled?
Right, because I was not able to sell any of the assets. He did not have a will, and I was the administrator of his estate. Right.
Okay. Now, you gave them the car to use from 2002, according to your complaint, until 2004. Now, my question to you is, in whose name was the car titled in 2004?
The title was in my late husband's name until after the accident.
Okay. Now, according to you, you insured the car up until May or June of 2004.
Correct.
And then sometime in May or June, you found out that you had started to insure the car.
I did insure the car. After,
when?
In May, after her mother told me that she was no longer carrying insurance on the car.
Okay, so you started to carry insurance on the car, even though you had no insurable interest in the car.
At that point, we felt like the car had been given to us. We had already tried to return the car several times. She said she had no use for the car.
Excuse me, Your Honor, that's a lie.
Just a minute, I'll get there. And at some point, about a month or so later, your husband had an accident with the car and it was totaled.
Yes.
And you got a check for how much?
$4,687.
Which you feel rightfully belongs to you.
Correct.
And you feel none of that belongs to her because it was your insurance policy.
Correct.
What do you think?
She gave us the car.
Stand up.
She gave us the car 3 years ago. We offered to give it back to her several times. She didn't want the car back. She had 2 cars and 1 driver.
Yes.
She had a Corvette.
Well, what did you say? I'm just curious. What did you say when you offered to give her the car back?
I said, here's the RAV back. You know, you can have it back. She said, no, keep it. Drive it. That's exactly her words.
Okay.
Keep it.
Now, why did you bring it over there?
Well, actually, I brought it over there to make sure that I wasn't encroaching upon her, to make sure that it was a gift, and if she wanted it back, she could have it back.
So you brought it back to her to see if you were encroaching?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Denton. When did you have the first conversation with regard to the estate settling and some papers that would necessarily have to be exchanged?
I found out that they had started to insure the car on June 17th. Up until that time, I carried full coverage insurance on the car.
You have any proof of
Yes,
that?
I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Put your hand down. Now, this car was a 1996 Toyota?
Yes.
It was insured until the 17th of June, 2004. Not May. It was insured until 17 June, 2004.
Okay.
Full coverage. So you are mistaken that the car was not insured after May. So whoever gave you the information was mistaken.
That would be their mother.
Well, I don't know who it was, but certainly you didn't verify that with her, right?
No, I did not.
Right.
What had happened was, Your Honor, because I had been paying the insurance the whole time, I would give the little cards to my mother, because she lives in the same town they do, to go and give to them, and I had given her the wrong card. And she looked at the date and told them that there must not be insurance on the car because it's expired. They got insurance without my knowledge.
I don't see how they could get insurance. They had no insurable interest in the car.
It was a gift.
You had no insurable interest in the car. That's a matter of law. The car is not in your name. It would be like you deciding that you like the look of Bird's car and saying, I'm going to take out insurance on his car just in case he has an accident. And if he has an accident, I can collect on his car. You have to have an insurable interest in the car. The car was not in your name. And it's not something that is worth family feuding over. Sir, you have to use common sense. If she gave you the car, then the common sense would be, I cannot transfer the title to you in this car until the estate is settled, and that may take several years. But I'm giving you the car. But while I may give you the car, I'm not going to give you the car and pay for your insurance too, because that would be stupid. Put your hand down, troublemaker. Do you understand, sir? I'm ignoring your wife because she is not related to this lady, and you are.
Yes, ma'am.
So she doesn't care if she makes trouble, this one, but you should care if she makes trouble. If your sister was giving you the car as a gift, I would say to my brother, David, I want you to have this car. We can't do the paperwork on it right now. All you have to do is you take care of the maintenance, you take care of the insurance, you take care of all the expenses on the car, and at the appropriate time, I'll just transfer the title over to you. I would not say to him, I'm going to pay for all the expenses, including the insurance on the car.
She didn't pay for all the expenses.
The insurance! No, she's supposed to pay the expenses? I mean, something wrong with you? You look like a perfectly healthy man. Do you work? Are you employed?
Yes, yes, I am.
Then why should she pay for the expenses? You're driving? Listen to me. Listen what you did with your wife. You had the full use of a car for 2.5 years. You had it fixed when it needed to be fixed. You put gas and oil in the car. You did whatever you had to do. Somebody else paid for the insurance. Then, at the 11th hour, because your wife got some misinformation, you insured the car. You had not paid for the car. And you came into a windfall of almost $5,000 for something that wasn't yours. Listen to me, sir. Under your theory, if you had had the car in April, which you did, of 2004, and if you had had an accident and she was paying for the insurance at the time, who would have gotten the insurance money? I'm not asking, put your hand down.
She obviously would have gotten it.
Right. She would have gotten the money. Would you have sued her?
Her insurance would have also paid
Ma'am,
for
ma'am, I wouldn't sue a family member.
Right, because you would have done the right thing. And the right thing is, you don't come away with a windfall of almost $5,000, which is outrageous. Outrageous.
We did have medical expenses after the wreck.
Whose fault is that? Hers?
No, but her insurance would have paid it if she was carrying insurance.
Whose fault is that? Hers?
We
If
used
you
the
had
check to pay
medical
for the
insurance,
medical
sir,
expenses.
nobody would have had to pay medical insurance for you. You would have had taken care of it with your medical coverage. And if you're a working person, I assume your wife is working. She looks like she's an able-bodied person. You should have medical insurance.
I'm a
She's
student.
a full-time student.
She's too old to be a full-time student if she has other responsibilities.
I am a full-time student.
Okay. You owe her $4,687. Judgment for the plaintiff. No good deed goes unpunished, madam.
Thank you very much.
Why does that excuse? You may step out.
568 on the calendar in the matter of Rast versus Trenholm. Thank you. Parties have been sworn in, Judge.
Good.
You're welcome. Have a seat, y'all.
Mr. Trenholm, you and the plaintiff knew each other. She was buying a condo or a co-op?
I had previously bought it. I bought it in February.
And you made an arrangement with her for you to rent a room in her condo. According to Miss Rast's complaint, she was going to be out of town for a few days prior to your moving in.
Yes, Your Honor.
But because you were friends, she said, why don't you move in some of your stuff even before the lease period starts? I'm not going to be there. So far, are we on the same page?
Well, no, Your Honor. Actually, she said that I could move into the premises early myself.
Oh, that
To be
was even
attendance.
nice. Just a second, that was even nicer.
Yes.
Chantam. Mm-hmm. So she was a great gal, and you moved in. When did you move in?
On the 13th
Of?
of June
Of?
of 2004.
And what furniture did you move in with, sir?
I moved in a guitar. I moved in a...
Just a second. Can you sit on it?
No.
What
You could, but I
furniture
don't
did
think
you
that would be
move in?
comfortable.
I said.
I moved a portable fold-out chair that turned into a bed. I moved in a couple of other chairs, some lamps.
Clothes?
Clothes. There's a couple bags of clothes there. And then...
Bags? You mean suitcases?
Yeah,
or
suitcases.
shopping
I
bags?
had packed all my clothes up.
Now, at some point, you had a few guests over.
Yes, Your Honor.
When was that?
That was on June 18th. It was a few days prior to my birthday, and I invited a few friends over to watch the Red Sox game and celebrate my birthday.
So you were at that point a tenant.
Yes.
How much rent had you paid?
None.
Tenants pay rent.
They do, but we had no written
Mr.
contract,
Trenholm.
Your Honor.
You don't have to have a written contract, Mr. Trenholm. You can be a month-to-month tenant without it. But as long as your behind is in her apartment and you say that you were going to be a lessee, you're a tenant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tenants pay rent.
But she had told me verbally, we had a verbal agreement that I could move in early, and that would not be the case because she knew that I was already in another lease. So it was in her goodwill that she allowed me to move in.
So you weren't a tenant.
I guess legally, no.
You were an invited guest.
I was a guest.
I love when I can reel them in. I love when they get reeled in, like fish. Remember, Bert, do you remember when you were a kid, they had those games at, I don't know if you ever went to Coney Island. You go to Coney Island? They had those fish tanks, and they gave you a fishing pole with a magnet at the end, you know, and you leaned over and you tried to catch as many as you could.
Yeah.
I liked that game as a child. All right, now back to you, Mr. Trenholm. So you had a few guests over to celebrate. What national holiday were we celebrating on the 18th of June?
My 22nd birthday, Your Honor.
Did you provide libation for this group?
Meaning? You'll have to forgive me, Your Honor.
Libation, drink.
I'm a music student.
Drink,
Yes, yes.
Drink, libation. It's a word. It's English.
Yes.
What kind of libation did you provide for this group?
I didn't go out and buy any because there wasn't going to be high volumes of people there. Most of my friends, the few that came over, brought their own. It was kind of like a bring your own alcohol type of thing.
Give me the approximate age of these people that you invited over.
The youngest one was me, being 22, going up to the oldest one, Mike, who's 26.
How many were 22?
3.
How many were 23?
2, I believe. I think maybe 123, 124, actually.
And how many were 25?
None.
You were the oldest.
He has my age wrong. I was actually 24, and my
24.
girlfriend is 26.
One girlfriend.
Yes.
She looks young.
Oh, shh. I'm not finished. Your name is?
Mike Schaefer.
Mike. Step up here, Mike. Mike, how did your girlfriend feel being the only woman there?
She wasn't the only woman there, actually.
Really? She wasn't the only woman there?
No, she wasn't.
How many women were there?
4 or 5.
4 or 5, including your girlfriend or excluding your girlfriend?
Including, I'd estimate.
So let's say there were 5 women. We have Mr. Trenholm, who was celebrating his birthday. He's one person. Then we have 3 other 22-year-olds. That makes 4 people. A couple of little older. That makes 6 people. You're 7. 7 and 5 women. 12 people.
I invited
Now,
6 people, and a few of them brought friends. Girlfriends.
Oh, well, that's why I was just looking here, because you seem to suggest that there were just a few people. So that's a big gathering. And all these people brought their own alcohol.
Yep.
What did they do for food?
We ordered some pizza. There's a pizza place right across the street.
Okay, what time did your friends leave?
The majority of them left that evening, but Mike and his girlfriend and 2 of my other friends stayed.
Where did they sleep?
There's 2 pull-out couches in the living room of the apartment, so they stayed there, and I slept on the fold-out chair in my room.
What time did you get up in the morning?
It was relatively early, I believe 8 a.m., because I had to work that day as well.
What time do you have to be at work?
Noon. It was in New Hampshire. I had to travel.
So you had to get dressed to go to work?
Yes.
That didn't give you much opportunity to clean up.
I actually cleaned with my friends.
Yes.
Did you?
My girlfriend and my 2 female friends.
Do you have any proof of what your place looked like?
Oh,
when
I
you
do,
came home?
absolutely.
I'd like to see it, please.
I do have some pictures. And somebody,
Let's see
I just
what
want
kind of a cleaner Michael is. and
I
his
do want to say
friends.
that somebody did sleep in my bed, and somebody had sex in my bed as well. There's nothing more humiliating than cleaning up somebody's used condom in the morning.
Miss Rass?
Yes.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm a student. I'm a full-time student, and I was working as a waitress at the time.
Okay. What are you studying?
I'm studying psychology.
What year are you in?
I am a junior now.
You seem like a relatively smart young woman. You've taken the basic
I do
study,
try.
Psychology 101 and 103 and all those other psychology
Well, I can
classes.
spot a when I meet one.
All right. Miss Rest, let me tell you this. Okay, without using profanity, it's really not necessary all the time. Sometimes using a butter knife to kill somebody is really much more fun than using, you know, a really sharp-edged tool.
That might be
It takes
true.
a lot longer.
A spoon.
Trust me, it works. A spoon works just as well. But what you should have learned so far in your studies is that a 22-year-old male has the equivalent age of a 7-year-old female.
That might even be a stretch.
And this one is 24. What do you do for a living?
I'm a loan officer at a mortgage company in New
You're a
Hampshire.
loan officer. Do you have a home?
I do.
Well, on the 18th of June, why didn't you go to your own home instead of staying over? Is not an answer.
It was late. I believe it was about 2 in the morning, and we have to drive about an hour, so I thought it was safer to stay.
Why?
Because
Isn't it nicer to sleep in your own bed and wake up in your own bed in the morning?
it certainly is, but I'd hate to be on the roads tired.
How about drunk?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
No one slept in her bedroom.
She didn't say that they slept in her bedroom. She said that they had sex in her bedroom. There's a difference. That only takes, unfortunately, sometimes a split second.
And later today,
Some guy threatened to kill him, put a gun to his head.
Is he still around or is he in jail?
He's still around, right?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Caroline Rask says former friend Derek Trenholm owes for damages to her condo as the result of a party. Derek says the lawsuit is revenge for breaking up with Caroline's friend.
I don't know what this is here. You want to tell me what this is?
Oh, that if there's spots. That's a picture of my wall. That's beer on the wall.
Why is he smiling? Bird, would you ask him why he's smiling?
Why are you smiling?
Because if you had seen the condition of the place the next morning after we cleaned it, you would realize how ridiculous it was that looks.
I am an extremely OCD person. My
Well, let
house
me tell you
is
something.
immaculate.
And these stains were on your sofa?
That's my sofa stain.
Oh. And how many used condoms did you clean up?
Just the one, but that's
in your bedroom?
pretty vile enough, yes.
You're absolutely right. Now, you brought that computer.
Yes.
Want to tell me why you brought the computer?
Whenever I leave my apartment, whenever I'm not in town, I close the computer up so it was like this and turned off when I left. I'm very protective of my computer. It has a lot of my work in it. And when I returned, the computer was open and it was on. And I do not use AOL Instant Messenger. I use just straight AOL. And Instant Messenger had been downloaded into my computer, and some people had used it, and I do have their screen names, so I do have evidence that they were on my computer. When I went to check my email, the computer was in a pool of beer. It looked like somebody had just wiped the front of it, but had not bothered to pick it up. I managed to get most of it out with a Q-tip. However, right in the mouse pad, there's still some beer that's visible if you look at it. And when the computer starts to heat up, the mouse sticks and doesn't work. And also the keys right here, they're broken and the F4 is missing. So they're kind of glued on right now, just for functional purposes.
How much did you pay for that computer?
I want to say it was about $1,200. My dad bought it for me as a graduation gift from high school.
What do you have to say for yourself, sir?
Well, the computer she showed to me when I came back after the party, and she said, somebody did
Spilled
something.
beer all over
That's
it.
what she said. And she's pointing at it saying, there's beer all over it, it's broken. And I'm looking at it saying, like, how can you possibly say that? There's nothing on it. There's no marks, there's no liquid, there's no
What
stickiness.
about your friends who used it?
I don't know if any of my friends used it. There was very few people there. I'd be surprised if that's the case.
I can show him the screen name.
She says she's got a few screen names written down. It's completely ridiculous. After this incident, she told me, you know, you broke my computer. I can't believe you did that. My password was stored in there for AOL. 2 weeks later, she deleted my AOL account. I signed on. It was gone.
There's no way I can...
Just a second.
She deleted my AOL. She deleted my mail. She deleted my address book. She deleted my buddy list. And she deleted all the documents that were contained within my filing cabinet.
Show me.
I can't. There's no way to do that if somebody deletes your stuff.
There's no...
What about the beer stains all over her couch?
Those were not there when we left. It's complete fabrication. This is more about a personal vendetta.
What about the condom in her bed, sir?
That's completely false, too. That's a complete lie.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
I changed. Not 7, 6. 6.
I told you it might be
6. You know what he didn't learn? He didn't learn from his parents when they said, when you do something wrong, you have to say, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No one slept in her bedroom.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Let me tell you something. She didn't say that they slept in her bedroom. She said that they had sex in her bedroom. There's a difference. That only takes, unfortunately, sometimes a split second.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Trentholm, you don't need 8 hours to use a condom. Right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, my only problem with Miss Rast, and I want to tell you something, Miss Rast, you see, I have a big problem with you, and the problem is you're only suing him for $780.
That's a problem.
As far as I'm concerned, he has to replace that computer that cost $1,200. He would have to replace these couches, according to what I see here, because you're never going to get those stains out, so I don't have to go any further. For some reason,
What about the money
I'm
she tried to
speaking! For some reason, you decided to be kind to Mr. Trentholm, something that I certainly wouldn't do under the circumstances, and sue him only for a nominal amount of money, which I am pleased and joyful about being able to award you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $780. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I should have been suing him for a whole lot more for the cost of the computer to get fixed, as well as the damage in the apartment.
When you tell big enough lies, people listen to that over the truth.
I think that she just decided she'd lie and so that she would win the case.
I don't care if he was having, tea with the Queen. I don't care if he was having lunch with the Mafia. The moral of the story is he damaged my apartment, and he should have to pay for that.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Langari versus Cologne. Step forward, please.
18-year-old student Nydia Langari is suing her ex-boyfriend, 21-year-old promoter Hector Cologne, for money loaned and the cost of a necklace.
Miss Langari, this young man used to be a boyfriend of yours, and you, according to you, loaned him some money. One small loan was for him to remain alive since somebody was after him because he owed them money. And the other loan was for some clothes that he wanted, clothes and shoes and stuff. And then you found out that he wasn't the man that you thought he was.
Exactly.
And you want a necklace back that you let him borrow.
Which I believe he pounded.
Now, Mr. Cologne says that you're crazy about him, and you gave him the money, and it was a gift. There was never any promise to pay you back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you are a special guy. You are a prize package. You are a unique man. Prime property.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nydia Langari says ex-boyfriend Hector Cologne owes for loans and a lost necklace.
When did you first start to date this Prince Charming?
In December 23rd, 2004.
When did you make the first loan to him?
I think 2 weeks after, when he told me that some guy threatened to kill him, put a gun to his head, and he was telling me this story, and I offered to borrow the money, and he said he would pay me within 2 weeks.
Tell me about the loan that you had with this guy who put a gun to your head.
I was doing something for him and whatever.
No, I want you to be specific. I'm really interested. You were doing something for him. What were you doing?
I was selling drugs for him or whatever.
Okay, so he gave you drugs that you sold.
Yeah, and I supposed to owe him money. I spend the money. I owe them money.
What kind of drugs did you sell for him?
Weed.
Just marijuana?
Yeah.
How much did you sell?
It was pounds of it.
Do you love this? Do you love this? Remember that fishing game that I discussed with you? With the fishing poles and the magnets? Mr. Cologne, you sold pounds of marijuana for this guy. You made the money, and then you went and you spent it on something else. What'd you spend it on?
Clothes.
So you bought clothes with it. Didn't you think that that was a dangerous thing to do? How long had you known this guy?
For like 2-3 years.
Did you sell for him retail or wholesale? Shh, quiet! Did you sell in bulk to other people or little bits? Little bits. On a street corner or from your house?
They used to call me.
So you had regular customers?
Yeah.
Okay, so he had threatened to kill you
Yeah.
with a gun. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Do you have children? Yeah. Ooh, I knew you were going to say that. I knew he was going to say. How many children do you have?
I got one daughter
Where does she live?
with her mother in New York.
Okay. So you took the money from her and she gave you the what, $150?
180.
And you gave it to the drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Is he still around or is he in jail?
He's still around.
What's his name?
His name is...
And you gave back his money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were back in business.
No, after that, I started working in a restaurant.
Oh, that's good. So you went legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Good. When you started working, why didn't you give her back the money?
Because she said that to not worry about it as long as I'm safe. She never said to pay her back.
That's a lie.
Okay. Now, what about the clothes that you bought for him?
He just told me to borrow the money, that's all. So he said he was going to give it back to me in 2 weeks.
Go ahead.
I used to pick her up at work sometimes on my day off, and she used to give me money here and there. She used to not tell me to pay her back. She used to say, don't worry about it.
What'd she say? Just here, take this and go buy yourself something?
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? She was seriously in love with me.
That's a lie.
Okay. Now, what about the chain?
The chain, when she gave it to me, we was in her house or whatever, and she was not even supposed to have people in her house. We got caught in her house, and her mother was saying stuff in Spanish that she never raised up her daughter to have guys in the house or whatever. And the chain was already loose, and I never pawned her chain. It was
You just lost it?
I lost it. I was in the club, and it was loose, and I lost it.
Did she give it to you, or did she let you borrow it?
No, she gave it to me and said, there's a chain, so when you lay down, like when I go to sleep, to think about me.
Let me tell you something, Miss Lingara. Mr. Colon, whatever he is, he's not a liar. I can tell you that right now, because right now he has acknowledged that he committed felonies for the last 3 years. Anybody that would acknowledge to me that he has been a drug dealer for a very long time, sold marijuana, bought it wholesale, sold it retail, is not going to lie to me about a stupid thing like $150 that you gave him or some clothes that you bought for him. It's not. Put your hand down. You're winning. So I have to decide whether these things that you gave him were gifts or they were loans. I don't think that they were loans. You got angry with him, according to you, because you found that he was lying to you, that he had a child, that he had a woman.
And that's the when I started to avoid him. I stopped the relationship.
Good.
Because I didn't want to be with somebody.
Miss Lingara, that was very, very smart. I think you should stay away from Mr. Colon until you're really certain that he is gone legit. But these monies that you gave him, I don't believe were loans. I don't believe it, because I have to decide who's lying. And anybody so stupid as to acknowledge in front of 8 million people that he's a drug dealer is not going to lie to me about a couple of dollars in loans. Thank you very much. Case
Parties are excused. Now, this is case number 293 on the calendar in the matter of Heater versus Titus. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Mr. Heater, the defendant used to be your girlfriend.
Yes.
And according to your complaint, she had you falsely arrested for domestic violence.
Correct.
Ms. Titus says that she did call the police. She had you arrested for domestic violence, and that's because you hit her. Correct?
Yes.
This incident happened on what date?
July 28th.
Now, Ms. Titus, I am correct that at one point in your relationship, you found yourself pregnant. And you told Mr. Heater that he was the father of this baby and that you miscarried. Is that what happened? But it turned out that he was not the father of this child.
It could have not been his.
Right. And then you renewed your relationship again briefly. But that's all it takes, Mr. Heater. A brief moment of stupidity, and Miss Titus told you she was pregnant again. And according to you, you said, listen, I didn't know about last time, I don't know about this time. I don't want to have anything to do with this baby until I take a paternity test.
Actually, what I told her was that I would help her out as long as I would be repaid if the baby was not mine.
You didn't discuss that with me first. I would have told you that that was a very bad idea. However, on the evening of the 28th of July, according to you, and according to Miss Titus, she called you and wanted to come over to talk.
Actually, he called me. Yes.
What did you call her for?
I thought that she had a doctor's appointment regarding the baby the previous day, and I just called to see how it went.
And what did Miss Titus tell you?
She said that I was wrong about the date, that I believe it was the next day, and that she would like to come over and speak to me. And I said, I don't think that's a good idea. We speak face-to-face, that we should speak over the phone. And she said that she didn't want to speak over the phone.
So Mr. Heater told you not to come over?
Well,
you
no.
acknowledge that. He said he didn't want to talk to you in person.
He said that he didn't want to talk to me, but eventually said that it was okay for me to come over.
Did you tell her it was okay to come over? No, I don't believe that. It's not what you say in your answer, and I don't believe that. He said he didn't want to talk to you in person. He thought you should discuss whatever you had to discuss over the phone. But you went over there anyway. What time did you go over there?
About 12:30 in the afternoon.
What did you want to discuss with him?
I wanted to talk to him about the baby and about how things were going between us. We were, before this, we were going out and doing things together, and like...
Don't you people know anything about birth control?
Yes, they don't work for me.
They don't work for you?
Yes. My body rejects them.
There are all kinds of birth control, Ms. Titus.
Yes, ma'am.
The answer to having a problem with one form of birth control is not to have babies with people who don't want to have children with you, like Mr. Heater or anybody else. So you went over there about 12:30.
I knocked at the door, and he told me to come in, and we started talking, and I upset him. And
how did you upset him?
I don't remember exactly what I said.
Maybe you do. If you don't remember, maybe he does. What happened, Mr. Heater?
I was upset before she came into the house because I told her not to.
Come over.
And she started screaming through my door at me.
What was she saying?
You have to live up to your responsibilities. You can't create a situation and then not take care of it.
That doesn't sound welcoming, Miss Titus.
That never happened at all.
Go ahead.
So, to save myself from embarrassment from my neighbors, and I did open the door for her to try to...
So you let her in?
Yeah.
And what happened when she came inside?
It just continued on the same thing in there. You have to take care of this. And, you know, I was trying to tell her I'm doing the best I can with this. I don't really know how to deal with this situation. Everything's so bad. I don't know what to do except for what I am doing, and that wasn't good enough for her. And for 30 or 45 minutes, she followed me around my house with me telling her to leave over and over and over again. She would not leave my house. And eventually I was in the kitchen sorting my dishes, and she came in and was pointing her finger at me, yelling at me in there, telling me the same thing, that I had to deal with my responsibilities. At that point, I took her by the hand that she was pointing at me with and just turned her around facing the kitchen door. And I had hold of her elbows with my body pressed against her back and was just walking her towards the door. I was like, you need to leave now. And she grabbed onto the kitchen doorway and started pressing back against me. And when I finally backed off of her and she let go of the door, she turned around and grabbed my hand like this, and then she smacked me in the face and said I had no right to touch her. And as a reaction, my hand came back around too.
So you hit her?
Yeah, regrettably I did come back around. She went off towards what I thought was the front door, but as I was in the kitchen, I heard her dialing my phone. She told me then that she called the police.
Do you have a copy of the police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Who is this gentleman, Mr. Heater?
This is my friend, Jason Hubbard.
Was he a witness to what happened on the 28th of July?
No, he wasn't.
Okay. Okay, Miss Titus, tell me what happened, your version of what happened when you got into the house.
When I came into the house, we sat down on the couch and started to talk. At first, things were okay. Then I started talking about the baby and about this new girl that he's dating, and how that her not liking me around is the real reason why he's not wanting to have anything to do with the baby. Then he got upset and told me to leave, and I told him no, he can't just end the conversation anytime he wants to.
Yes, he can. He can tell you to leave his house. Go ahead.
I followed him around the house and was still talking to him, and we ended up in the kitchen, and I had said something about this girl he's dating, his girlfriend, and he doesn't like me to refer to her as that, so that made him really upset. And he came and he grabbed me by my arms and started to escort me through the door, and I stopped myself, told him he didn't have any right to put his hands on me at all.
Yes, he did.
Not according to...
Oh, yes, he did. Once he tells you that he wants you to leave his house and you remain there, you're trespassing. That's a crime. Next.
Well, according to...
Don't tell me according to anybody. You tell according to a police officer. I've had 10 years of postgraduate legal education. When you're in somebody's house and you're an invited guest, first of all, you weren't an invited guest
But
in
I
this
was
house. I'm
invited.
speaking. You weren't an invited guest. You were told not to come. You came anyway. He tried to avoid you and said, please leave. Once he told you to leave his house and you refused, you become a trespasser.
Well, another reason
Now-
I didn't leave is because in previous arguments that we've had, he's asked me to leave, and then 10 minutes later he'll call me and tell me come back over.
Well, you just have to guess his mood then. Right now he told you to leave, and you didn't leave. So he put his hands on you to escort you out. And what did you do?
I was pushing back against him, like you said, and I turned around, and he still had a hold of me when I smacked him in his face.
Right, so you smacked him in his face first.
Yes, ma'am.
And then he slapped you.
Twice.
Twice. You slapped him the first time, he slapped you twice. It's amazing to me that the police arrested you, sir. Absolutely amazing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have no right to lie to the police, because it was a lie what you told the police that he pushed you in your stomach while you were pregnant. That's not what he did at all, because that's not what you told me happened.
And later today,
I asked her, what is he doing here? Why are you calling me at 4 o'clock in the morning if he's here?
He started running his mouth. Me and him got into a fight.
He came with a pipe of some sort, then smashed out the back window.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nathan Heater says ex-girlfriend Rebecca Titus had him falsely arrested for physically abusing her. Rebecca claims he kicked her in the stomach during her pregnancy.
Tried to get you out of the house. He's holding on to your arms. You're resisting him. Ultimately, you turn around. He's still pushing you, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you slapped him.
Mm-hmm.
He slapped you then twice. Mm-hmm. Where did he slap you? In the face?
In the face.
And then he let go of you when you called the police.
Mm-hmm.
And you are there because you are pregnant.
Yes.
And you're concerned about the welfare of your baby.
Yes.
And that is the primary thing that you're concerned about, the welfare of your baby.
Yes.
So let me tell you what you told the police. Titus said that the defendant grabbed her by the arms and began to drag her out of his house, physically trying to remove her from the residence. She advised that she is pregnant with his child and that he pushed on her stomach. Was that meant to get the police really angry at him? Pregnant, he pushed on your stomach? You're full of baloney. And you had no right to have him arrested. And I'm amazed that they arrested him. He has a right to escort you out of his house if you refuse to leave. You hit him first. Did you hire a lawyer?
No, I had a public defender.
One of the things that I have to comment on is you're not too swift. If you're dating this girl and she tells you she's pregnant and it turns out it could have been you or somebody else, I wouldn't have had a wind through my head and then had intimate relations with her again, unprotected. Do we understand each other?
Completely.
Ms. Titus, you have to learn that domestic violence is a very serious crime. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you have a right to hit somebody and not expect to be hit back. And you have no right to lie to the police, because it was a lie what you told the police that he pushed you in your stomach while you were pregnant. That's not what he did at all, because that's not what you told me happened. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm glad that somebody let her know that there are consequences for her actions.
I want him to be a father to the child, and pending a paternity test, I think that he will be there.
Careful who you fall in love with.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Foster versus Green. Step forward.
23-year-old Nick Foster is suing his ex-girlfriend's current boyfriend, 25-year-old Derek Green, for smashing his car windows with a pipe. Derek claims Nick tried to run him over.
Where's the girlfriend?
She didn't want to come.
She couldn't make it because of work.
Didn't want to come sounds
did not
like a
wanna come.
better answer.
Probably.
Mr. Foster, the defendant is your ex-girlfriend's current boyfriend?
Yes.
At the time, yeah.
And according to your complaint, one evening he was drunk and disorderly and damaged your car. Mr. Green says that he might have damaged your car, but that was because you tried to run him over. So why don't you tell me this story of intrigue?
Basically, my ex-girlfriend, who I've been together with on and off for 5 years now, she called me over about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
Had you been sleeping when she called?
Trying to, no.
What were you doing?
I was getting home from a night out.
Was this a Saturday night?
It was a Thursday night.
So you were just coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning?
No, I was home probably about 2 o'clock, but she called me at 4 o'clock.
And you figured this is too good to pass up? I'm going over.
Yep.
Had you been drinking?
Earlier that night, yes.
And what happened when you got to her house?
I stayed over there for about hour and a half, and decided to leave.
Who does she live with?
She lives with her mother and her father.
How did she get you into the house?
The front door.
What happened when you left?
Her father was awake, so I decided to go out the back door. That's where I saw the defendant passed out in the backyard.
What were you doing in the backyard passed out, Mr. Green?
I was passed out there because my girlfriend had left with my buddy's girlfriend to go to the store to get cigarettes. I passed out. I wake up. He's chasing my girlfriend around.
You're getting ahead of yourself, sir. I'm asking the questions.
Nick Foster says his ex-girlfriend's current boyfriend, Derek Green, vandalized his car with a pipe. Derek claims Nick is stalking him and his girlfriend.
Where were you earlier in the evening of the 8th of September?
We were at the bar drinking, me and Jacqueline.
Jackie's the girlfriend?
Yes.
How did you get to her house?
Her car.
Who drove?
I did.
You drove the car drunk?
Yes.
And when you got there, she told you couldn't come in?
No, I was outside smoking a cigarette. I was not allowed to smoke in the house.
And you just fell asleep?
Yes.
Passed out?
Mm-hmm.
You were awakened at about what time?
Around 4 o'clock in the morning.
And tell me what you sort of remember.
So I remember seeing him chasing my girlfriend around the back patio. He ran out the back door and through the back gate.
So he went out the back door?
Yeah, after he had one in the back door.
He went out. No, you didn't see him go in.
I seen him run and chasing
you
my
don't listen
girlfriend.
to me.
All right.
Mr. Green,
Mm-hmm.
let's get it together, sir.
All right, I'm getting it together.
You didn't see him go in, correct?
Yeah.
But you saw him come out.
Yes.
You don't know what time he went in.
I don't really know what went on, to tell you the
When
truth.
you were in the house with your ex-girlfriend and the father woke up, was he angry?
He was upstairs.
What caused your girlfriend to leave the house?
I decided that I needed to leave. So she said, go out the back door. We could hear him walking upstairs. Upon doing that, that's when I noticed that he was outside. I asked her, what is he doing here? Why are you calling me at 4 o'clock in the morning if he's here? So I guess he heard us talking outside, came downside and told us all to leave.
You mean the father?
Yes.
When he said he told you all to leave, what did he say to you?
He said, everyone leave.
That was nice. I would have probably phrased it differently. So what did you do, Mr. Green?
I left.
Well, how did you come in contact with Mr. Foster's car?
After I had walked up the street, he come following me up the street. Me and him got into a fight.
How
stopped.
did you get into a fight? Explain
He
that.
got out of his car. He started running his mouth. Me and him got into a fight, started walking across the street. Then he got back into his car, come across the street, tried to run me over. I had to jump out of the way, and I threw a rock at his back window and busted his window out.
Why did you throw a rock at his back window?
It's an ongoing thing with him. It's, you know, he's been stalking us.
I'm asking you, what did the rock have to do with this altercation that you had?
He tried to run me over. He tried to kill me.
Go ahead, Mr. Foster.
What he said was correct to a point. Yes, we did get into a fight, and I got out of my car to run my mouth because he kicked us out of my car. His friends came over and separated us.
Where were your friends? What are all these people doing at 5 o'clock in the morning?
He woke him
They're not
up.
my friends.
We woke him up arguing, and they were right across the street.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
I'm 25.
It's not even the youth of America. Yes, go ahead. So,
Well, when you're standing in the middle of the street as I'm trying to leave, yes, I guess you could say I tried to hit him.
with your car?
Well, yeah, if I'm driving in the middle of the street, he's in the middle of the street, then yes, I guess you could say I tried to hit him.
Yeah, go ahead.
He came after me as I pulled over. He came with a pipe of some sort, smashed the side of my car in the driver's door, then the back door, then smashed out the back window.
Does that sound right, Mr. Green?
No.
Well, how did all the windows get broken on his car?
I don't know how all the windows got broken. I know I busted the back window out. I didn't bust any of the other windows out.
Can I see pictures of the car, please?
The other windows were not busted out. It's the side, or the top of my car, on the side of my car, that was damaged with a pipe.
What kind of car do you have?
Grand Prix.
Ooh, no, that's a pipe, Mr. Green. That's not a rock, sir. That's pipe. What kind of work do you do?
I'm roofing supervisor.
A what?
Roofing supervisor.
If I were to spend my days up on the top of a roof, I don't think I would get as sauced as you do, sir.
I take off when I want.
That's responsible.
I pick my days.
Can I see the estimates on your car, please? Either one of you treated at any hospital or by any doctor on the night of the 8th or the 9th of September?
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Treated by a doctor or a hospital?
No, it was not.
So we're not talking about any injuries to you. We're talking about two people who had been drinking a lot, right? Let me ask you a question. Did you have a fight with your ex-girlfriend that evening?
No.
Did you ask her whether or not she had called him to come over?
Yes, I did.
And what did she say?
She said no.
But you see, that's a lie, because she let him in the house.
Yeah, when somebody stalks you so much, then you can only do so much.
Listen to me. If somebody's stalking, uncross your hands. If somebody's stalking you, you don't resolve his stalking by calling him at 4 o'clock in the morning to come over to the house. And you don't let him in the house, sir.
Yeah, well, he's coming to my house 2:30 in the morning.
I don't care about your house. I'm talking about the girlfriend's house, sir.
I'm not worried about that anymore.
Oh, listen, when you drink, you have to pay the piper. I don't think your girlfriend was honest with you, sir, with regard to what happened that evening. Maybe she was a little drunk, too, which is why she called Mr. Foster over. Certainly her father got fed up with all of you, told you all to leave. If he was afraid for his daughter's life, he would have taken her into the house and said, you guys get out of here because you're placing my entire family at risk. So I think that's something you really have to look into. And maybe if you had a clear head, Mr. Green, and weren't so infused with alcohol, you could look at the situation a little more clearly. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,941. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. 574 on the calendar in the matter of Godinez versus Pena. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Ms. Godinez, according to your complaint, you had a car, an old Cadillac, and you wanted to have it refurbished. You brought it to the defendant, came up with a price. 8 months later, he returned the car. He hadn't fixed it. You say it was severely damaged while in his care. You want him to pay all the money that it cost you to fix the car.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of a mechanic do you leave a car with for 8 months?
I had contacted him on numerous occasions, and he was always very irate or would hang up on me. Or
So you go get your car?
I didn't feel comfortable until I had someone to go with me to go get my car.
That took 8 months?
No, it only took about 5 months.
I mean, I've had cars all my life. If I bring it to a mechanic, they don't have it fixed in 10 days, 2 weeks. I go and I get it. So there has to be something more to the story. Sir, is there something wrong with you? Stand still!
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry. I'm a very nervous person, and I have a nervous tick. I'm sorry. I have a therapist, and I'll show you my thing. I have on medication, so I have...
That wasn't a nervous tick. That was, look, you're getting yelled at.
No. Okay,
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Don't give me nervous tick.
All right, it was worth a try. Sorry, ma'am. I apologize.
That's better. How did you know him?
We dated from 1993 to 1995.
And did you remain friends with him until after 1995?
Yes, ma'am. When we saw each other, we
All
were
right.
friends
And what
with each other.
financial arrangement did you make with him with regard to fixing this car?
We finally came to the agreement I would pay him $200 now, and then when I sold the car, I would pay him the rest of the money that would cost to repair the car. He never called me to tell me what he was going to do to the car, what he found on the car, or what he repaired on the car.
Do you have a picture of the car before?
Not before. I didn't know he was going to do that much damage to the
Well,
car.
I don't know how much damage he
And
did.
I
Let me
actually
see
have
the-
a lot of the photos here, if you'd like to see of what the car looked like when I came back. And I actually had to have the car towed to another automotive shop. And this is the owner of that automotive shop. He saw the damages to the car, and
Well, he doesn't know when the damage has happened. That's the problem.
But I took my car to his shop from 93 to 98, and he knows how I always brought it to him.
Where did you keep this car, sir?
It was at my property. I had my business.
What kind of business?
A paint and body shop.
Well, who was using this car to nap in?
No, actually, it was sitting in the back of my shop, and this is the second time I'd worked on her car. The first time, she had hit a person in the front, and she brought it over, and she's like, well, as soon as I saw that, if I knew Frankie's going to fix it for free. And I was like, and it's like, all right, I'll fix it. Hopefully she'll never come back again. I never charged her. I just.
Why didn't you return this car to her, sir, after a month, and when you saw that it was...
Because she wanted me to fix her car for free, and I said, just come and pick up her vehicle. I said, just get it and get it out of here.
Listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
You are not receiving me, sir.
Okay. I'm going to listen.
Why didn't you call her? You take a look at the car. You say, I can't fix this car for a couple of $100. Come and get your car. Why didn't you do that?
That's what I did, ma'am.
You did?
Yes,
you called
ma'am.
her and said, come and get
Yes,
your car?
I said.
When?
He never called me.
When?
It was like maybe a week when I looked at it, diagnosed it, figured out what was the problem, because it was not just one problem. It was the air conditioning compressor. Then...
No, try looking at me, Mr. Pena.
Well, actually, I was...
Try looking at me.
Okay, I was just...
Not the sky, me.
Okay.
When did you call her and tell her to come and get the car?
That would be May 7th, 2000. 1 week after she brought the vehicle in, and I said,
you're so full of baloney.
I'm just,
Now, May 7th. What time?
Wait.
Just what time of the day on May 7th?
probably in the evening because that's when
Probably
I
in the
do-
evening. Was it between 6 and 8 in the evening?
I would say 6 to 8 because that's when I usually do my business.
Do you love this?
He's smooth, very smooth.
You think so?
I'm not trying to be any smooth or anything like that, ma'am.
I didn't
I'll
drop-
take a polygraph test too, ma'am, and I will do it as God's my
Oh.
Savior. I did not do anything like that. And I
didn't
know
ask
it's
you whether
it's
you did anything
inadmissible.
like that, sir. I asked you when you called her.
I just told
to come
you.
and get the car.
I
May
told you.
7th, year 2000, between 6 and 8 at night.
That's-
Now, is that as truthful as
That's
you're going
as truthful as I can get to where I can recollect, ma'am.
Isn't he wonderful?
He's good.
He's not in that receiving mode. Somehow,
Well, I'm trying. Let me put
What?
my receiving mode. I apologize. I don't mean to be condescending. I'm
maybe it's
trying.
your tick.
Oh, God. I wish it was.
Uh-huh. Oy. Listen,
I don't remember the exact date. I
Listen
took-
to me.
Yes, ma'am.
you're not getting him to pay for your whole car's repair. Forget it. You have a certain responsibility. And your responsibility is that when you bring a car to a mechanic to be fixed, and if the mechanic does not deliver your car back to you within a reasonable period of time, you don't stand there and tell a judge, I felt threatened by going to pick it up. That's baloney. Baloney. You get a police officer if you feel threatened, and you say, I'm going to pick up my car, but the guy's a little bit of a lunatic, so I want somebody to come with me, and you go get your car 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. The truth is, you didn't need the car.
I had another car.
You didn't need the car.
I did want to sell it.
You didn't need the car. So it was sitting there, and when he got around to it, he would take care of it. So you have a certain responsibility that you leave your car for either 5 months or 8 months at his shop. It's laying out there on a lot someplace. You don't think people are going to sit in the car, throw cigarette butts on the car, make a mess of it?
It was locked in his gate, he told me.
I understand that it's inside gated property. There are people who work there, aren't there?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Of course. When she brought the car to you, were there burns all over and with the inside, the interior of the car all shredded?
It was damaged, yes, ma'am.
It's not what I asked
It
you.
was shredded and it was burnt.
Where?
Right on top of the visor, where on the left side, driver's side, there was a fire from the light. It burnt that.
Right.
And then the back seats with a leather interior, it was shredded and stuff like that. Also, the front left side, it was torn up there. And then the compressor was damaged, needed...
Well, the compressor she already said wasn't working.
Yeah.
He actually converted the AC system in 1999.
Just a second, he converted on this car?
Yes, ma'am, in 1999.
Oh, so he had worked on this car before?
Yes, ma'am.
To your satisfaction?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Well, the outside of the car looks just fine, with the exception of an antenna which looks bent. On the inside, the car looks as if someone's been smoking in there and dropped matches on the floor.
The computer component was hanging by its wires. I know he was looking for the short that was in the car. He left the undercarriage in the back seat. He left all the wires hanging. He left all the bolts on the floor. He didn't put it back in the same condition I'd left it.
You the mechanic?
Yes, ma'am.
Step up here. I want to ask you just a couple of questions. The inside of the car, as far as the exterior of the car was concerned, other than the antenna, the car was pretty clean. A couple of dents, but this car is a dozen years old already,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So it's the inside of the car that was a problem.
Yes, ma'am.
What about the inside of the car was a problem?
Well, I mean, when I looked at it, originally, of course, the first thing you look at is the exterior because it's dusty and stuff. But when you open it up, and like she was explaining, the ECM, the harness, and other accessories and stuff were hanging down from it.
And how much would it cost to put the accessories back in a condition that was appropriate?
As far as the accessory, it's not so much cost, it's just a matter of time. Maybe
So,
15, 20 minutes.
15 to 20 minutes to
Yes.
put all the guts back that he had
Yes,
taken
ma'am.
out.
Yes, ma'am.
And everything else you just fixed
Yeah,
on the car.
we traced the short down and actually fixed.
And
some
fixed
of
it.
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you come to ask him for $2,700?
It cost me $350 from his shop to get the car running back, because when I got the car back, it had no dash lights. It would hardly turn over. By the time I went back, the car was dead and had to have it towed to his shop. Couldn't even drive it. And so I had to pay his shop just to get it functioning again so I could sell it. I never had the compressor fixed.
Listen to
and
me.
They did.
Listen to me. I
Yes,
asked
ma'am.
you a question. You're talking very fast.
Sorry.
He said it took him 15 or 20 minutes to put the guts back in the car that he left hanging out. I'm not saying he's terrific. But you want $2,331.17, and I'm asking you for
I
what?
have a list of items here if you'd like to
For
see it.
what?
They also found that the diode, some electrical piece on the compressor, was never put on the compressor in 1999, which was causing the short in
Let
the
me
car.
explain something to you. I'm not going back to 1999. Forget it. Your complaint was that you left the car there within 5 months, and because of the damage that he did to the car, it cost you $2,331, which is not true.
But he wouldn't. I never knew what he was going to do to the car. He was always telling me, "Call me next week. Call me next week. Call me next week."
Go and get your car. Be a grown-up.
I have
Defamation. That's what you're countersuing for. Defamation. Let me hear it fast, in 30 seconds or less.
Yes, ma'am. Background check, State Attorney General, Better Business Bureau. 2 of them were a company. Since 5 years in business, 0 complaints.
Well, she complained about you, sir. She's allowed to complain about you.
I know, but she was telling everybody about me. She
No,
was
she
saying I
didn't.
didn't do my company.
Just a second. Who did she complain to?
Chef at Aldo's.
Did you have that witness here?
No.
Well, you
Also,
can't. Just a second. You
Okay.
can't tell me what she said to somebody else. That's hearsay.
Yes, okay.
What else?
Had a nervous breakdown.
I'm not interested in that. I mean, it's not that I'm disinterested in it,
Well,
sir, but
that's
it's not
fine.
relevant to this case.
I have my awards and stuff like this, and the way you had said it, like, we don't have that etiquette, like you just said, you know, dirty, musty stuff like that, ma'am. The way I portray my company is like, this is my uniform.
Mr. Pena.
We're not like
Mr.
that,
Pena,
ma'am.
are you finished with the defamation part of your counterclaim?
No, I'm finished with that, ma'am.
Good,
You
wonderful.
can take it.
Wonderful. Ms. Cardenas, you have not established to my satisfaction that other than the 15 or 20 minutes that it took this gentleman to put the work back together, that he did anything to your car in the 5 months but just let it lay there.
But he took it apart. I mean, he took it apart. He never found the short, and there was no, because it stayed there on his property, it no longer had any dash lights. It no longer had any...
Go and get it. That's what you do.
But I didn't leave it in that condition when I left it with him.
How much did you charge her for the 15 or 20 minutes that it took to put this stuff
can I
back
explain
together
something
again?
real
No,
quick?
just answer my question. How much did you charge her for the 15 or 20 minutes?
$315.14. But
For
you've
15
also got almost $200 worth of parts here, too. When the vehicle was actually brought in, the reason it was brought in, it was because it had no air conditioning.
That's not what I'm here for, sir. She's here because she says that he was negligent in allowing her car to be vandalized in some way in the time that it was sitting in his lot. And I said to her, why didn't you go and get your car? You know, a car sits on a lot. You have cars on lots. What happens when a car sits on your lot and nothing's happening to it 5-6 months?
Well, it depends on the customer wants to claim the vehicle. Most of the time, they just leave them.
Yeah.
So you put a lien on it, you sell the car.
Right. And so what do you do with the car? You go and start it every couple of days?
No, ma'am.
No, of course not. Just let it lay there.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Roxana Godinez says her ex-boyfriend, Frank Pena, damaged her car while trying to repair it. Frank says the car was already in bad shape.
So I'm going to ask you again. He left some stuff out.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said to me, it took you 15 or 20 minutes to put that stuff back in. So I'm asking you, how much did you charge her for that part of your bill? Because he's responsible for that. Maybe. If I could make him not responsible, I would. He's really irritating me. What did you charge for an hour's worth of labor?
$61.27.
Okay. Is he going to his wallet?
No, I was going to adjust it over here.
Oh, I thought you were going to your wallet to give her $60.
No, not at all.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $60. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
When you walk to my shop, I dress like that. And that's an owner of a shop like that. Look how he dresses. And that's his Sunday best, see? Yeehaw!
He knows exactly what he did wrong. I'm sure if you listen to him for a little while, you realize he has no content when he speaks.
Chop, chop, chop.
And now the next case.
All parties on Emmanuel versus Casa. Step forward, please.
52-year-old writer Sheila Emanuel is suing 43-year-old store owner Norman Cosser for the cost to replace her raincoat. Sheila says while shopping in Norman's store, her coat was burned by a candle.
Miss Emanuel, according to your complaint, you passed by the defendant's shop, which is a boutique-y kind of shop, and you saw a picture frame that you liked in the window?
Yes.
You went in to purchase it. There was someone helping you, not the defendant.
That's correct.
This is your store.
Yes,
But
it
the
is.
person who was helping you was an employee.
Yes.
And when you were looking at the frame or paying for it, you placed your coat down on the counter and smelled something burning. When you picked up your coat, you had placed your coat on top of a lit candle that was on the counter.
Not quite. I didn't smell anything burning.
You saw smoke?
Yes, the cashier smelled something burning.
Okay. And your coat was burned?
Yes.
And you want him to pay for the coat?
Yes.
How many candles were burning in the shop?
When I went into the counter after I picked out the frame, I saw on the counter a fat pink unlit new candle, and I saw a metal cylindrical, looked like a tall can. I looked around for some place to put my things. I didn't see any place to put things down, so I put my bag on the floor. And I asked Michael, the cashier, if it would be okay to put my coat on the counter because there were items lying there, and he said, sure. We started writing the transaction up, and about 30 seconds later, he asked me, did I smell something burning? Then I glanced to my right, and I saw that my coat was smoldering. So I pulled it off the counter. There were papers in the pocket that were on fire. Michael took them from me, and he was stamping them out on his side of the counter, and I was stamping out the fire in my coat on my side of the counter.
So your coat was burned?
Yes.
Well, what did you put it on?
I put it on the counter over the cylindrical metal can and the unlit pink candle. When I pulled off the coat, after we put out the fire, he said to me, Michael said, oh my God.
Don't tell me what Michael said. Okay. Michael's not here.
Okay. I found out there was a lit candle in the recessed container after I pulled my coat off the counter.
Why do you think he's responsible for that?
I was told to put my coat on the counter by Michael when I saw no other place to put it. And I was unable to see the lit candle in the recessed container.
Well, how high is the counter?
About this high.
So all you have to do is look inside.
It was back at that end, and it was tall. And the candle was not at the top. It had burnt down.
Go ahead. Your turn.
She came into my store.
Did you witness anything?
No, I came out. I think
where's your employee? Where's Michael?
Michael's working. He's not being sued, Your Honor.
Mr.
I'm
Costa,
being sued.
I understand that. You're the one who's being sued. But you have to have your witness here. You didn't witness anything. I mean, how are you going to respond to her?
I have pictures of the counter as well as the candle in question.
Let me see. This is a much better view. Is this the candle you were talking about?
No, it is not.
See, you have a problem, Mr. Costa. When I read this complaint, I said, it's very straightforward. Miss Emanuel says she walked into your shop, she put her coat down, she wasn't looking what she was doing. So I was prepared to tell Miss Emanuel, you got to be more careful. But you're a businessman. And I assume that you know in court you can't use hearsay, you have to have a witness. Your witness was here. He would be able to tell me if this was the candle that was on the counter. She says it was not. So what are you handing me this candle for?
Because I took a picture of the counter and of the candle
to
show
when?
it to you.
When?
I took it yesterday.
I don't care what it looked like yesterday. Yesterday is not important. When did this happen?
February 22nd.
February 22nd is important. I don't care what your counter looked like yesterday. And you don't know what the candle was that was on the counter at all.
I work in the store daily.
That's why we need your witness.
She should have sued.
Do I scare you?
She should have sued my employee.
Oh, she can't sue your employee, Mr. Costa. Don't be smart-mouthed with me. You know she's not going to sue your employee. Your employee is your agent. That's why she sues the store. And ordinarily, Miss Emanuel, I would throw you out, but I must take everything that you say is true because he has no witness to dispute it. That you were told to put your coat down. There was a larger cylindrical container that obstructed your view that there was something burning inside. You couldn't see it because it was tall and metal, and it was really a hidden danger. You were not advised. So you get your money. $280 was the coat?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was in the back room.
Sản phẩm mình đang cầm trên tay là tinh chất dưỡng môi của Senka Aqualip Essence, có trọng lượng là 10 gram và sử dụng vào ban đêm, dùng như là một chiếc mặt nạ ngủ cho đôi môi của chúng ta. Và với cái sản phẩm mặt nạ ngủ môi này thì có cái ưu thế là hyaluronic acid có cái khả năng là cấp ẩm, ngăn và làm dịu nhẹ cho đôi môi của chúng ta khi mà bị khô nẻ, bong tróc, và nó sẽ loại bỏ các cái tế bào chết ở trên đôi môi của chúng ta, và đặc biệt nó sẽ bổ sung các cái vitamin E và cải thiện cái đôi môi xỉn màu hoặc là những cái đôi môi kém tươi màu, giúp đôi môi của chúng ta được hồng hào và tự nhiên, và được chiết xuất từ cam thảo sẽ làm cho mềm môi, dưỡng sáng, và nó sẽ hỗ trợ là giảm thâm cho đôi môi. Và đặc biệt chất son không có màu, mỏng nhẹ và nó không bị nhờn dính. và nó sẽ là một cái dưỡng lót môi và bảo vệ môi trước khi mà chúng ta dùng son màu để tránh các cái tác hại của như là các cái loại chì, và nó sẽ lên cái màu môi được chuẩn màu, được đẹp màu son hơn khi mà chúng ta sử dụng son, và nó sẽ ngăn các cái tác hại của thời tiết, hoặc là có thể như là có thể đôi môi của chúng ta có thể lão hóa và mất nước. Với cái kết cấu dạng essence thì nó rất là giàu các cái dưỡng chất và giúp để khóa ẩm cái ẩm cho đôi môi của chúng ta, và nó sẽ bảo vệ môi trước các cái tác động của điều hòa hoặc là mất nước. Về cái độ an toàn của dòng sản phẩm này thì thứ nhất là nó không chì, không chứa cồn, và nó không có chứa chất paraben, và không có cái hương liệu. Đó là những cái an toàn cho sản phẩm, rất là tiện dụng cho đôi môi của chúng ta.